Can we start, please? Ankita?
Ma'am, let's yeah.
They stop the video, yeah?
Ma'am, we'll just wait for 2 minutes since people are being added.
Yeah.
If that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
173
Nirmal,
people
are you admitting all the participants in? You're the
No,
host,
no,
right?
no, I'm not.
You know?
Nirmal,
I think you will need to.
Others are.
Nirmal,
Mayank and
can I
Ravi.
have your attention, please, Nirmal? Nirmal?
Yeah, Taranjeet, you need to say something?
So should we mute ourselves?
Yes.
And video also off?
We'll just wait till the program starts and then we'll turn off our videos.
So we'll start now. A community is connected to each other by attribute. The linking element is the essence of the group. We all need a sense of belonging, and that sense connects us with each other. Community is where we find comfort in difficult times. We believe that a community is like a wall, made of many individuals or bricks, but each is indispensable and has a niche of his or her own. One can make a difference. Together, we can shift paradigm.
Dreamt as a kid, worked for the dream through my 20s, and now living it as an oral oncologist. Everybody has a bit of a superhero in them, and oral surgery brings out the superwoman in me as I make people's life better by treating oral cancer patients.
Oral Maxillofacial Surgery for me is a very rewarding career, my passion and my identity, love and power to all other female max vets all around the world. Keep rocking.
Surgery has been my passion from childhood. In fact, I don't remember a time when I have considered any other profession. Patience and perseverance are two virtues which all children should be having. Maybe a little more hard work for us girls. Once world realizes that you are serious about your profession, there is no stopping of us. Your career will just take off.
I just had 37 years of experience. If I could do it, all of you can do it. With changing times, women OMFS can conquer anything in this field. Come on.
What drives me the most is the science and technology, with which I have traveled for 29 years and got a fantastic results. I wish all the women maxillofacial surgeons in the world all the best and stay safe.
I chose to be an oral surgeon. It was very much my first choice. The fact is that to be an oral surgeon, one has to be a little dedicated. And yes, I think women are doing pretty well. I have reached quite high positions.
What surgery means to me is surgery means the world to me, and it has become my identity. And if you ask me what drives me is to see all ladies working wonderfully in our field and reaching to new heights in spite of all odds.
Much more than a citation or an award to be a maxillofacial surgeon. Giving a sense of wellness to an affected individual is what surgery means to me precisely.
In one line, I should say, it makes me feel as a full and wholesome doctor or a complete doctor. Now I should say that a surgeon should have a lion's heart, eagle's eye and lady's finger.
It was a real challenge for me and I took it. Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery is the field which has given me a big satisfaction in my career, in teaching and in surgical field.
My passion is oral surgery, and what drives me most is the need of the people and innovations in our field. My advice to all young medical girls: don't get disheartened by the necessary breaks which you have to take as a woman in your life. You will definitely bounce back much stronger, much able, just like a phoenix.
My decision to become a surgeon was largely driven by the values instilled in me by my family. I cannot imagine a more fulfilling job as being a part of a profession focused on helping others regardless of circumstance, facilitating them to lead healthier and happier lives.
Surgery is my passion. Apart from my teachers, the patient satisfaction I offered during my UG days could be a cause of me being a maxillofacial surgeon.
It's a blessing being an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. Being a woman, it's extremely challenging but thrilling. It's my pleasure to utilize my surgical skill and provide extreme care to my patients in this noble walk of life.
Surgery has always been about chasing my dreams, and today when I feel that my dream is coming true, all I want to tell the upcoming women maxillofacial surgeons is that when somebody tells you surgery is not worth it, don't believe them and go for it with full gusto.
But being maxillofacial surgeon gives me pride and a sense of achievement. It's something that has given purpose to my life.
Treating these diseases is not only challenging because of long working hours and operating with precision, but it also requires a lot of patience, empathy towards the patient and the patient's family, as well as an altruistic perspective, which I believe women are abundantly gifted with.
I call myself a scalpel warrior with artistic fingers and poetic heart. One, raise your bar higher than what you had set yesterday, because every day is a new beginning with some amount of experience.
Oral surgery is my passion. I always felt happy how appreciative the patients were for the care they get. And I thoroughly enjoyed the preoperative planning and the minute details necessary for a successful surgery. For me, it is exciting, challenging, and adapting to innovation in tougher cases has always driven me through.
It's something that has given my life purpose and added value to it too. I'm always driven by the feeling of satisfaction, and the ability to do that, it's something amazing. I think it's a superpower, and I'm always driven to be able to deliver the best to my patients. Having said that, I think our field requires lifetime learning, but in the end, it's all worth it.
It is such a vast specialty with so much to do, and the deeper you go, you realize that there is so much more that can be done in this amazing specialty with a promising scope for research. I'm extremely happy and proud to be an oral and maxillofacial surgeon.
I was intrigued about oral surgery for the connecting bridge that it serves between dentistry and medicine. So I decided to make oral surgery my future and my life.
As a maxillofacial surgeon, every day is a new day. Every case is a new case. So many learning opportunities. There is no age, no phase for learning in this field. Oral surgery is enormous and limitless. It's exciting and challenging.
This is a kickstart to our lives, and we are enjoying this ride.
We are proud to be an oral and maxillofacial surgeon.
The thing which drives me to take maxillofacial surgery as my profession is my incomplete desire of being in a medical profession, and this branch satisfied it to the fullest, and I am totally passionate about it.
Surgery has been my passion, and it gives me immense joy, excitement, and it gives me a feeling of completeness as a doctor.
But what is common amongst all of us is our passion and love for surgery. So 3 cheers to all the strong women maxillofacial surgeons. May we always empower each other to do more, learn more, and be more.
I find this branch extremely interesting, and you are able to pursue any particular procedure with sheer hard work, patience, and a lot of dedication and discipline. Make sure you have a team that works for the betterment of the fraternity of oral and maxillofacial surgery.
Surgery is something that brings in a lot of satisfaction and contentment within me for the fact that I'm able to give something back to the society.
Precision, dedication, and commitment are the core values that drive me towards the field of oral and maxillofacial surgery, keeping me inspired every day. I love to spread awareness about our field, to teach, and more importantly, to encourage more and more women to join our field from here on until forever.
It's quite challenging to work in the region of the head and neck because of its complex anatomy and physiology. And these challenges are what drive me. And at the end of the day's work, there's a great sense of satisfaction.
My area of specialized expertise is in the management of babies born with cleft lip and cleft palate deformities. I believe, and I firmly believe, that if at least I can change one face at a time, it will not only change the life of the kid, but also the people around the kid. To me, it's a great honor, reward, and respect.
Surgery is magic. The magic of putting those broken pieces to precision, demolishing and reconstructing, cutting and fixing, and all these eventually just to bring joy, happiness, and hope for the face of your patients. And I think this magic drives me. To all my fellow colleagues, be stubborn and determined in your goals. It's worth it. Let the magic flow limitlessly.
Oral and maxillofacial surgery for me is a means to reach out, to heal, to transform, and to restore faces and lives. With every happy patient, my zeal to serve gets renewed by leaps and bounds.
OMFS to me has been a lifetime memorable, thrilling combination of experience and achievement. It holds a lot of promise in terms of stem cell therapeutics, regenerative medicine, and biomaterials for the future generations to explore. All the very best and get started.
Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery.
It all started in the month of March when I was approached by the NAR Medical Dean to offer my wards for quarantine of those nurses, the healthcare workers, and the residents who had got infected with COVID. And then I opened up my 20-bedded ward for them. Slowly, as the numbers started spiking, I went on further to ramp up the beds to 64 capacity with oxygen as a CCC2 center. On May 19, I received an order from the Municipal Commissioner of Mumbai that I had been given the charge of running a jumbo facility at NESCO. And I was in a total state of shock when I came here on 20th of May, and I saw these were just open grounds with 5 exhibition halls. I just couldn't understand how I was to start a hospital here which would house 3,000 beds. There was absolutely nothing. To start from scratch, to execute a design for a jumbo setup for which I had no formal training. For 2 days, I almost was dumbfounded that I just cannot do this, and I almost wanted to give up. But it was the strength given to me by my family, my husband and my daughters, and a close friend of mine that I could not back out. And it was then that I thought that probably I'm the chosen one by the divine power to help the Mumbaikars and the citizens of India from running from one hospital to another to get an oxygen bed. And there were so many who were collapsing. So it was that gave me the strength that, look, I have to do this. I have started in a small way at Nair Dental. Maybe this is a bigger picture of that. And with some sort of support as a team from my doctors at Nair Dental, and I came down to NESCO. It was here under the trees that we put up tables and chairs, and it was here under the sun where we used to work 5 to 6 hours a day. We didn't even have washrooms which we could use, and it was here that I did all the planning on how I would execute it. And from here, within a span of 8 to 10 days, I was able to start the first hall. And here, as you can see, this is one of the halls. You can see literally this is how the patients are waiting for the admission process. We have smart OPD booths. These are contactless booths. the highlight of NESCO is that the entire details of the patient are captured by the control room war zone, where I have worked most intelligently and effectively to have doctors available 24 hours in 3 shifts, where they track the patient's details. So when we see those details, we see the ones who are critical and we flag those cases so that we bring it to the attention of the doctors inside the wards, and therefore we are able to pick up the ones who are more critical, and in time we are able to transfer them to a higher center or to an intensive care unit in a tertiary hospital so that they are attended to and their lives are saved. It was no easy task starting from open grounds and reaching to a point here today where I have commissioned 2,000 beds. The recovery rate of our patients is 70%. And to touch wood, we have still not had any mortality in this place. It was most difficult to get manpower. We have appointed people on contract basis. We train and orient them each and every batch which goes inside. On a weekly basis, we train the next batch which is going in. Complete training is given to them on the software, on the SOPs, on the management of the patient, on how to use the BiPAP machine, how to use the non-invasive ventilator. But today, I can say proudly that we have reached a stage where everything is running today in an auto mode and everything is streamlined. Today, I have with me 103 doctors, I have 135 nursing staff, and I have 150 ward boys. The treatment provided over here is totally free of cost. There are 4 meals given to the patients per day. There is unlimited Bisleri water given to them. Each one of them receives a personal kit which has a toothbrush, paste, soap, sanitizer, a stainless steel glass, and bed sheets. Each bed has an oxygenated portable cylinder available and a fan. Besides that, we have 500 beds which have piped oxygen, and we have also put liquid medical oxygen tanks because we have an ICU coming up in the next 10 days. My motto in life has been to convert any difficulty and any struggle into a successful end. No matter how much it takes from me, I am not the one who gets defeated by a struggle. And with that in mind, I went on to work in this pandemic. My father, my late father, always said that problems come, but remember that every problem has a solution. And that's how, even with and we got messages from their relatives, from their close ones, with thank you letters for saving their family members. It only adds to our satisfaction that yes, we have been successful. So I would say that don't get defeated by the challenges that come to you. Don't get limited by the challenges that come to you, but work towards limiting these challenges. Take one step ahead, and believe me, you will find a path to complete a journey. It was a small initiative by us. The courage that we took to set up something like that but today it is going to go even beyond one single center and to many centers and would possibly save many more lives. So with that, I thank you very much for giving me a small hearing on this, and I encourage everybody, whoever can, please come forward and help the people in this country and maybe in the world to get over this pandemic. Thank you.
It's needless to say that these videos have energized all of us. Yash and Memansa, your compilation of them have so beautifully conveyed how much we all love this specialty. And the laurels that Professor Neelam Andrade, Dean, Naya Dental College and Hospital, has brought by meticulously creating and providing care to COVID patients has made us all proud indeed. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going is just a nutshell of your integrity, ma'am. And you have really fulfilled your motto so well and have made all of us, the whole fraternity, so proud. We are grateful to you, ma'am. Distinguished dignitaries, esteemed guests, invited panelists, delegates, and our fellow colleagues across the world, a very warm welcome and good evening to one and all. Kavita and I, Ankita Chuk, would be your host for this evening. Women in maxillofacial surgery have already established benchmarks and uphold the highest standards in both surgical skills and research. The Congress of today is not just a reflection of this or a celebration of this, but it's a focused lens of what we can become. Because every wonderful woman has a lovely story to tell, obstacles she faced to share, and yet she has hopes for the future. So let's open our doors to such wonderful and accomplished women max facts of the world and become a part of this larger enriched whole. Today, there'll be no strangers here, only friends we are yet to meet. It's a great day, one we have been planning and waiting for. To say we are thrilled to see you all gathered today would be actually an understatement. We are wholeheartedly thankful to all of you for joining here. And let's imagine the flags are flying, the balloons are ready to be released. So let us begin with the meet.
I invite Aparna Ji, budding maxillofacial talent, for a musical salutation. Here's to you, Aparna.
Mahadevasutam Guruguhasutam Mahadevasutam Guruguhasutam Prakasham Shantam महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियम् महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियम् मूषिकवाहनमोदकप्रियम् महागणपतिम् वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दितमहागणपतिम्.
Thank you, Aparna. It would have been lovely to hear you live. Because of the technical glitches, there were some problems. Anyway, it was very nice. Thank you for your touching voice. I feel elated to call upon Dr. Sujata Mohanty, Professor and Head of Department of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery of Maulana Azad Institute of Dental Sciences, a distinguished woman maxfac of substance, to present her welcome speech.
Thank you, Ankita. A very good evening and a wonderful morning to one and all from every corner of the world. Thank you for joining us at the first virtual Global Women Congress of Maxillofacial Surgeons 2020. It is a great honor for me to welcome all the distinguished speakers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen who have logged in from all over despite being in different time zones. I also acknowledge the presence of Dr. Veerabahu, President AOMSI, Dr. Preetham Shetty, Honorary Secretary AOMSI, and other dignitaries. I wish to extend a warm greeting to each one of you on behalf of Women Maxillofacial Network. On this day, we fondly remember the late Dr. Sumit Sandhu, a renowned woman maxillofacial surgeon who left for her heavenly abode prematurely. The world is experiencing multiple transitions, and this conference aims to explore several complex interconnected issues pertaining to women maxillofacial surgeons, including how to make tangible progress towards a better future. This endeavor is brought to you by Women Maxillofacial Network in collaboration with Stryker. Our motto is to ignite, inspire, and illume young budding maxillofacial surgeons through continuing education. Our mission is to empower, our passion is to mentor, and our vision is to render knowledge through this platform. The network was the brainchild of two of our very own founder members, Dr. Divya Mehrotra and Dr. Taranjeet Kaur, and others just kept tumbling in, and it reached new heights within a very short time span. Today, all of us stand together to give it a global face, make our presence felt. A special mention for our senior members, Dr. Chitra and Dr. Reena, and young guns, Nirmal, Neha, Ankita, Elavenil, Deepa, Kavita, Zainab, Lakshmi, Sushmita, Arati, Mamata, and Shubhra, who have worked hard day and night to give shape to this forum. We all are working to continuously refine and redesign the platform and bring in changes as and when required to fulfill the need for knowledge sharing, collaborating, coordinating, and networking. We are very grateful to our international and national speakers, Ms. Lund from Norway, Ms. Giro from US, Ms. Radaj from Brazil, Ms. Bale from UK, and our very own Dr. Nilima Malik and Dr. Divya Mehrotra, who have consented to enlighten us with their knowledge and are uniquely placed to debate and highlight the issues women surgeons face in today's scenario. The potential of this platform to bring about positive changes is yours to leverage and take advantage of. Together, we can expand our collaboration and make it a successful network beyond maxillofacial surgery. Before coming to close my address, I would like to request and remind the speakers and moderators to please stick to the time schedule strictly and to not overrun. I sincerely hope you all enjoy today's program. Now, I would request Dr. Ankita to kindly conduct the proceedings. Thank you all.
I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Sudhata Mohanty for welcoming the august audience. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Now, I call upon Professor Anisha Maria to introduce stalwart of our times, who is an inspiration to everyone, including me, and who has lived by the example she has set in. Our chief patron, Professor Nilima Anil Malik. Over to you, Professor Anisha Maria.
Thank you, Kavita. First, I'd like to say I'm so thrilled to be on this platform. It's a stupendous response that you all have managed to get. Now, I'd like to introduce one of the senior most oral and maxillofacial surgeons of India, Professor Dr. Mrs. Nilima Anil Malik. She is an oral surgeon from Mumbai, and she has also served as a former Vice Chancellor, Karad Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad. And she happened to be the first woman Vice Chancellor from the dental fraternity. And there she started as a Vice Chancellor a lot of innovative schemes for women upliftment. Former Dean, she's also the former Dean, Professor and Head, Naya Dental College, Mumbai, and the only female Professor Emeritus to that institute. She has had 40 years of teaching experience, innumerable publications and patent for a distraction device. She has guided 60 PG dissertations so far, and she has received 4 Lifetime Achievement Awards from various eminent organizations. She is the first woman president of the Association of Maxillofacial Surgeons of India in 2003. She is also the author of a very popular textbook of oral surgery, which was launched in 2003 in Rural Dental College, Loni, where I was hosting a PG meet as the organizing secretary. So I am very privileged to have been present during that time. The book has already been published and has its 5th edition coming soon. There are uncountable prizes and accolades that she has received, which if I start reading the whole list, it would go on for a very long time. So instead, I would like to invite Dr. Malik to please start her address to the gathering. We are all waiting impatiently for her to hear her, and hand over the virtual stage to her. Ma'am, please come on. Ma'am, I would like you to start your talk. Dr. Malik? Ma'am is muted. Madam?
Just 1 second, we'll get her on.
Yeah.
हाँ मैम, अपने को अनम्यूट करिए और शुरू करिए. आपका इनवाइट किया जा चुका आपको. क्या आप डिस्कनेक्ट हो गई थी? ओके, ठीक है, कनेक्ट कोशिश करिए. Should we continue with the program or should we wait? I think she has got disconnected.
Divya,
Huh?
do we have her video?
I shared it. We have to ask Ankita if she has it.
Ma'am, she's going to speak directly. We don't have a video.
Okay.
Chitra ma'am can continue with the presentation till then.
Okay.
To take you all further, I would like to call upon Dr. Chitra Chakrabarti, a dynamic, confident surgeon and a great teacher, to present to you the picture of us, the woman part in maxillofacial surgery.
A warm welcome to all the panelists, the dignitaries, the delegates, and on this historic occasion, which has brought together maxillofacial surgeons from around the globe, from so many countries on one platform, to share our thoughts on the journey of women maxillofacial surgeons. I am Chitra Chakravarti, and I'm here to introduce this forum and take you through the journey of women maxillofacial surgeons from India. India has always been a very progressive country with regard to education for women. The first known women physicians were Anandibai Joshi and Kadambini Ganguly as early as 1886. And it is actually very interesting to note that it is actually Anandibai Joshi's 153rd birth anniversary today. So I guess we are being blessed by her too. The first woman oral and maxillofacial surgeon in India was Professor Vanaja. And we were supposed to have the oration from Dr. Nilima Malik of Professor Vanaja's today. This number has slowly increased, but steadily increased over the years. And sharing data from our Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons of India, we have over 2,000 female members in this society. And we also, out of a total of 6,625. It is surprising, or let's say unfortunate to note that there's very little published data available on the Indian scenario of women maxillofacial surgeons. So to understand the scene better, we actually conducted some surveys of our own to understand our specialty from a student's perspective and also to get some relevant data for our forum. So if you were to look at it, the awareness of our specialty in India among the general public is only about 18%, whereas among the medical students and medical practitioners and the paramedical workers, the percentages increase slowly. The reason for putting up these statistics is basically that when a student joins for a dental course, they basically do not even have an idea of what maxillofacial surgery is all about. It is to applaud our teachers who actually bring us an interest in the specialty and help us to join this as our career. So on this survey that we conducted on the perception of undergraduate students about maxillofacial surgery, we saw that about 42% of the students actually felt that they could not handle medical emergencies very confidently. And about the same percentage actually wanted to join maxillofacial surgery as a specialty, which is actually very impressive. So the things that inspired them to take up maxillofacial surgery as a career option, and this I'm talking about women, was a deep liking for the subject. And many of them also felt that this was a link between medicine and dentistry. Surprisingly, many of them did not think it was a male-dominated field. On asking whether it demands more professional time and a lack of family time, about 41% of them did agree. And many of them actually thought, about 35% actually thought it was financially more rewarding than other specialties. When asked whether they would like to pursue a fellowship after their MDS degree, 84% of them said that they would like to. And oncology seemed to be the fellowship of choice. And among women, which is actually the most difficult fellowship to do, many people wanted to choose oncology. So among the published data, women in oral and maxillofacial surgery and her experience with her career choice, it was seen that 52% of the women were actually satisfied with their career choice. The breaks that they took were 67% of the women took a break during their maternity leave, and some of them even took a break of up to 3 years. Conferences being attended annually by 50% of the participants, and about 50% of them would actually attend conferences in about 3 to 4 years span. So what is the perception of women in maxillofacial surgery? 42% of the women actually thought that motherhood incites a subconscious gender bias at the workplace. And it was good to note that 62% felt that they had equal opportunities at the workplace. And those that did not were probably due to the long working hours and due to the dual responsibility of working at home, as well as in their career. Many of them even thought it was difficult to get back after their break in their career. Overall, 55% of the women were satisfied with their financial status and the surgical skill set that they acquired during their career. Another survey that was conducted about women maxillofacial surgeons and their publications in the past 10 years showed that in international journals, there's a representation of only about 18.5% women as first authors, Indian women. And in our national journal, the percentage is even lower, about 17.5% as first author and only 16% as corresponding author publications. So what are the options after maxillofacial surgery in India? So generally, most of the students, after they complete their master's degree, they either go into a hospital-based practice, some of them go into academics, teaching and research, some of them go into fellowships, many of them take up general dental practice, and many of them just stick on with minor oral surgery practice and consultations. I would like to describe to you the journey so far, our journey so far. So our journey began not so long ago, and it would not have been possible probably without the contribution from our enthusiastic youngsters, the legendary stalwarts, and our accomplished colleagues, and definitely not without the pandemic of COVID-19. I think this gave us the time to actually sit back and think and do what we really like to do. Amidst all the new rules of social distancing, varieties of masks, earthquakes, riots, floods, everything that we could think 2020 could bring to us, the world was experiencing a lot of change and disruption in our usual lives. So one positive outcome that we thought came out of this was the formation of the Women's Maxillofacial Network. The lockdown during the pandemic was a very trying period for all of us, but some of us women actually got together to do what we like to do best, being creative and being innovative. So we decided on a small scale to start mentoring through education. Very soon, we had a small team set up, and with all of them with one common passion, teaching. We wanted to mentor our undergraduate students by developing an interest in the subject, which we thought was very important to them. As the Sanskrit saying goes, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. I think this is very apt at this point. It means it is knowledge that liberates, and this is exactly what we wanted to impart to our young undergraduates. What started as an undergraduate platform with the sole purpose of mentoring through education slowly developed into a postgraduate platform. And before we knew it, we had more than 30 lectures in the past 4 months with requests for many more. I remember times when we were taking lectures at 6 o'clock in the morning and even going on sometimes till 10 o'clock in the night. Some of the best lectures, I'm very proud to say, have come from our younger faculty. There was so much to learn from them. In fact, we used to all sit back and listen to them talking about the latest advances, and it was really a very, very pleasurable experience. The enthusiasm among our team was palpable, and it encouraged us to do so much more. We took some feedbacks, and we actually found that the students thought there was not much difference between virtual and real classrooms. Lots of positive feedbacks began to pour in. And with this, we began to think of starting a network. So by definition, a network is a group of people who have something in common and work together as a system. And this is what we wanted to do. And why a network and not an organization? The whole idea was to have no hierarchy. We did not want anybody to be a senior person to be over another person who was junior. It brought together people with common interests. It motivated each other. We sat together and motivated each other. We learned from each other, which was also a very big thing. One small point that I would like to convey here is what I mean by no hierarchy over here was this particular Congress, the network which finally led to the formation of a Congress, was the most important part here. And it was suggested by one of the most junior people in our group, Dr. Neha Sharma, in a casual conversation with Taranjeet. And the rest of us immediately fell in line and started working very hard to make this thing happen to us. So I believe there are 3 roadblocks in a woman's career. One, just after completion of the maxillofacial degree. One during her maternity break and when she wants to come back into her practice again. And the senior maxillofacial surgeons who are so busy with their practice and managing their family, where they are not able to project themselves very well, where we do not see them as role models, where we can follow and know that at some point of time in our career, we can come up to what they have achieved. So what can we do about this? The idea of the Congress, I'm hoping they'll bring out lots of good ideas from the panelists and from our participants here to give us ideas on how to set up a global Congress. It is a way to connect and support each other at different stages of our career. Thank you so much.
I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Chitra Chakravarti, a dynamic force and founding member of our Women's Maxillofacial Network, for presentation of data and introduction of the forum. She has been a propelling force towards our continued education program. And now we move towards the main and much awaited session of the day, that is the Speakers Forum, where we have women maxillofacial surgeons from over the globe on our panel. These brilliant women leaders will enlighten us and enthrall us in the next 1 hour through their talks. Now I call upon Dr. Zainab to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Sabine Giraud, to the Congress, and also ask the panelists to start their presentation.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today we all have come together for a very special cause, to honor the spirit of women empowerment in the field of oral and maxillofacial surgery. To kick off this event, we have among us Dr. Sabine Giraud, oral and maxillofacial surgeon and Professor Emeritus of Surgery at the Stanford University Medical Center. She received her DDS from the University of Bonn, her MD from the University of Hanover, and her PhD from the University of Cologne, Germany. She trained in oral and craniomaxillofacial surgery in Germany and completed a postdoctoral research fellowship at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Harvard Medical School in Boston. She is also the AOCMF Community Development Commission Chair at AO Foundation. She has a lifetime of experience in the field of oral and maxillofacial surgery behind her and a number of accolades to her name. To add to her exemplary record, she has worked tremendously towards the community welfare in several hospitals and institutes. It is an absolute honor to have such a prominent personality to open the floor of this historic event. We are very pleased to have her present her views on the current status of women in oral and maxillofacial surgery globally. Without further ado, to Dr. Sabine.
Thank you so much, Zainab, for the great introduction, and thank you to the organizers, and congratulations for organizing this amazing event. This is really what we need, and I think this is a great start to a bright future for all women all over the world. I would like to not give a big talk, but share a couple of thoughts. And on the status of women in the world right now. I hope you can see my screen here. And so I'm not going to present a lot of data. I think Dr. Chitra actually did that really well. And I just want to go through what I think is all of our experience. So I think you can all relate to this. This is actually the graduating class of a very prominent university in the dental school here in the United States. And you can see that we have come a long way. Approximately half of all graduates are now women. And you can see that the women are all the men are very diverse. So we have women and men from all over the world. We have a 50-50 distribution in our graduating classes. And that in itself is an amazing progress. When I studied medicine, when I studied dentistry, I think I was one of maybe 8 women in a class of 60. So that was very different then, and that's about 35 years ago. So then if we go further, I think Dr. Chakravarti already said, the first big break comes when you decide for a residency. So this is the same university, and this is the faculty and the residents of the same university in oral and maxillofacial surgery. I think if you look at it very briefly, you mostly see men, and then you see, okay, there are a couple of women, and there are actually quite a few. So I think once you go into residency training, you see women, but you see fewer women, of course, among the faculty. So already there, we could see that we're looking at a funnel. So we start with a lot of women, and then we sort of pare down. And I assume that this is the same all over the world. I actually tried to get numbers from my colleagues, And that's one of the problems. There are really no good numbers internationally that are describing the situation for women who go into oral maxillofacial surgery. We don't have a good basis on how many women actually we have in the training programs globally, on how many women we have on the faculty globally. It's very different from country to country, but I think the general situation looks like this if you look around yourselves. And of course, if we have some numbers here, and you can see on the lower right here, some numbers, if you look at oral maxillofacial surgery with the fifth from the lowest, it's about 16% in our residency programs. And then when we go to faculty, it's even a little less in general, globally. I think what I find most concerning right now, and where we really have to think about how we as women can step up to the plate, if we look at the national and international organizations that are representing the fields and with their expertise. This is a picture of the leadership of the AAOMS. You see a woman in this leadership. This is a panel on a national and international conference. I think it looks very similar. We rarely see women on the panel. And then, of course, if you look at the textbooks that are published all over the world, the majority are not, women are not participating in these initiatives. And most importantly, we are not seen as experts. If you meet the experts, this is what you see. And so we have to ask ourselves how we can change that. Where are the women and what do we need to do? And I think, as I said, I think in our education, we are completely equal, but we are not really represented in the leadership of the specialty worldwide and nationally. So I think, Dr. Chakravarti already pointed out that, first of all, you have to have the human capital. Education is extremely important. You need to gain the work experience. You need to have development opportunities. And it looks like as women, we have all these opportunities. And, this panel or this Congress is really one of the major things that we need to do. We need to network with each other and we need to support each other because, the networks in the national organizations are very often not inclusive with us. And of course, as we heard, we have a work-home conflict. And there are a multitude of publications that globally, no matter where you are, women still do a lot or the majority of the housework of taking care of the kids. And we feel guilty if we leave our children behind. And this, of course, also has something to do with our self-perception as mothers and homemakers that we are proud of, which is connected to the feminine mystique that we are internalizing as women. And I think we also have to overcome this a little bit within ourselves to be more successful in our professional environment. I think there are a couple of steps that we need to take. Of course, we have to become the best surgeons. We have to take every opportunity to hone our surgical skills so that we cannot be denounced as we are not so good and she is a woman. This is very dangerous. So first of all, we have to be excellent in our profession. We have to be excellent surgeons and experts. We have to educate ourselves about leadership in our institutions. What are the opportunities we have in our institutions? What are the opportunities that we have in our national and international organizations to participate in the leadership? We really do have to step forward. And I think we're not doing that enough. And we have to socialize with our network of friends, mentors, and sponsors. Sponsors are very important. We need sponsors. We need to sponsor each other. So if there is a question, who would be a good woman to be on that panel, we need to suggest another woman. And we have to team up with our fellow women, which is exactly what we're doing here, because we very often hear the message, you are a woman, and we don't have a feeling of belonging because what we see in national and international organizations is not us. Yeah, so we as women, we have to grow our presence and we have to help each other and sponsor each other, not only mentor, but also sponsor actively. Of course, there are gender differences, and I think this is a very dicey subject, but I think there are differences in style and effectiveness. In fact, I think women are more inclusive leaders, and if women were at the helm of national organizations, there would probably be less wars, because we usually have the tendency to include, to care, and to nurture. There is a problem with commitment and motivation, because we always feel this inner conflict of, we should be with our children, we should be with our home, which is fulfilling the expectations of society. And then if we go out, we are negating these problems, and that creates conflicts and feeling of guilt. I think we are, as women, we need to buy into self-promotion. We need to be good negotiators. And these are some things that we can also learn. And I think this is something that we should discuss, how we can be better at that. Last but not least is prejudice. Unfortunately, this is a prevalent problem. And I would like to preface this with the fact that as women, we are not exempt from this. It's not men have prejudices and we don't have prejudices. We are all in this together. We as women have the same prejudices as women against women in leadership as men, because it's the societal expectations that are multiplied through the media, through publications, the expectations of society to behave in a certain way and fit a certain norm. And that is not only men who have that, that's also women. So we have to reach out to our colleagues and all work in this together, how to combat this bias in perception and also in the evaluation of our knowledge and skills. Importantly, I think it's that we have to engage in institutional change with our colleagues all over the world. We have to evaluate, understand our organization, clarify our goals, communicate our findings, and get buy-in from the leadership of the current leadership. We have to step forward and make it clear that this is the situation and we're ready to step up. We have to have measurable outcomes, develop interventions, and monitor the outcome. We need to be vigilant. We need to be at the table. We need to be there and be vocal about this. I think the first step we could take is our international organization of our International Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery. This is the governing body right now. Let's reach out to them and say, look, this doesn't look right. Yeah, we have about 20% women in oral maxillofacial surgery. Where are the women in this panel? And I'm sure if we reach out to the leaders in this society and say, here we are, we want to participate in this society, that we will find a way to engage them and work with them together. So I'm really inspired by a first step of Francis Collins. As you probably know, he is the leader of the NIH in the United States, one of the world leading associations for all scientists. And Collins last year declared that he will not speak at a conference that does not include enough women in prominent speaking roles. And I think this example we could suggest to our colleagues and say, we need to pay more attention to gender equity in conferences, in speaking engagements all over the world. And we also have to signal that we are ready to step up to the plate to do this. So last but not least, again, we are not we are not wholly and not biased against women. We are as biased against women as our male colleagues, because society has certain gender expectation roles that people also feel other people should conform to. We have confirmation experience for men to go out and be aggressive, whereas the expectations, societal expectations for women are different. And it's very important that we look at ourselves and think of Madeleine Albright, that there's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women. And this is what this conference is all about, that we help each other, that we find ways to come to prominence and fulfill our dreams and roles in our professional environment. With that, again, change begins with me. I hate these organizations where women complain. We cannot, complaining is not the solution. We need to look at ourselves and step forward. And I think this is a fantastic beginning, and congratulations again to the organizers of this conference. Thank you.
Thanks, Professor Sabine, for intriguing us all to reach the ultimate goal of our real representation. This is the thing we require. You've given us the true picture of where we stand. We are in a process and will surely work more towards it under the leadership of people like you. Here's a toast to all strong women like you. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them, as you rightly said. Thanks again, Professor Sabine. And we are happy that Professor Nilima Malik is back again. Professor Anisha Maria had introduced ma'am so nicely. It's my privilege now to invite Professor Nilima Malik for her talk. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ankita and Anisha. And sorry for the technical glitch. Good evening and greetings to all maxillofacial surgeons all over the globe. Indeed, it is a momentous occasion for all of us. It is the first virtual Global Women Congress of Maxillofacial Surgeons, with the mission to empower, with the passion to mentor, and vision to render to the society. This conference is also to ignite the passion for the art and science of maxillofacial surgery, inspire the new players in the field to excel, and thereby illuminate the countless needy patients' lives. I am indeed honored and feel privileged to be part of this august unique conference. At the onset, I would like to convey my gratitude to the core committee of Women Maxillofacial Network for inviting me as a chief guest for inauguration of this innovative venture. I am indebted to all the organizing committee members for remembering me and inviting me with great love and affection. I also wish to acknowledge the esteemed presence of the panelists of this event from different parts of the world. Welcome all. It is really amazing that in this unprecedented global crisis, we are virtually bonding together for a great cause. I also convey my special thanks to Craniofacial Academy of Stryker for giving extra power to this occasion. May this be beginning of the creation of new milestones in the history of this organization. I have been also assigned a pleasant responsibility of delivering Professor Vanaja oration, reminiscence of my life as an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. I hope I do justice to this honor. I herewith pay my tribute to Professor Vanaja. I have pleasant personal memory about her. She used to come to Nair Dental as an external examiner. Though she was much senior to me, we connected very well. She used to insist that I must bring home cooked curd rice for her, and I happily used to do it. In those earlier days, she really made her mark as a hardworking, most competent, tough first female oral surgeon in Chennai and in India. My odyssey, my trust with oral and maxillofacial surgery started with the wish of my maternal grandfather. He wanted me to become a doctor, so to fulfill his wish, I came to Dream City, Mumbai, from small town for my higher education. It was very tough coping with the big city and English language. Then the time came to apply for entering the medical college. Someone asked me to apply for dentistry also. I was wetlisted by 2 marks to JJ Hospital. I was called for the interview at Nair Dental, and imagine who took my interview for admission. Professor Jinwala, who has started our specialty in India in 60s, is known as father of oral surgery. He was the dean that time, and he convinced me to pay my fee and secure the admission. I debated with him that I may get admission at JJ. He promised me that if I get admission there, he will arrange for immediate refund. He gave me first lesson that do not run after uncertainty, but grab the best next opportunity. And today when I look back, I do not regret at all for missing medical admission, and for that I want to pay my reverence to Professor Jinwala. Dentistry was hard manual work those days, but our teachers were excellent and they were very witty and made tough practicals enjoyable. I got my BDS degree from then prestigious Bombay University in '72. I got my I was university overall topper and got gold medal and silver medals in few subjects. During our BDS days, I was fascinated by oral surgery subject because of Professor Jinwala, Professor Chitre, Professor Divan, and Dr. Kali Kapadia, who were excellent teachers and dedicated surgeons. I still remember Professor Jinwala mimicking neuralgia attack during lecture. Because of my merit, immediately after BDS, I got house post for 6 months with this teaching experience and registrar post for 1.5 years in the Department of Exodontia. And with this teaching experience, I was chosen as lecturer. But as per the vacancy, I had to work in the morning session in prosthetics lab and in the afternoon in conservative lab. The job was important for me, and in spite of my merit, they would not give me MDS admission in oral surgery without resignation. So I had to wait for 2 years. Then my teachers who were working in oral surgery as part-time teachers, Dr. DeCosta in the morning and Dr. Bhaktiwala in the afternoon, exchanged the department for me. And then I could work full-time in the Department of Oral Surgery. I'm eternally indebted to them. So I did my MDS while doing my duties as lecturer. Let me tell you a story of choosing the subject for masters. We were supposed to give 3 subject options. I gave all 3 options as oral surgery and all the heads of the department called me one by one in their chamber, convincing me to change the options, and also told me that this branch is not meant for girls and you will be wasting one precious seat, as unfortunately 2 senior girls who had joined surgery before me did not complete it. Even Professor Jinwala expressed his displeasure, but my guide, Professor Chitre, stood by me and welcomed me. He considers me as his eldest daughter. My salutations to him. So in 74, I joined MDS course in oral surgery, and 75, I was engaged to my life partner, Dr. Anil, who was doing his MDS in orthodontics. But Dr. Chitra had strictly told me that I should not get married till I clear my exams, and I had to obey that against my parents' wishes. In 77, I became married dental surgeon and MDS oral surgery. After getting PG degree, I met Professor Jinwala and asked him whether he regretted my entry into the specialty. He just patted on my back, which was like a blessing to me. I entered Nair Dental as an UG student and worked as faculty from 72 till 2008. 34 long years I spent my life, my youth in Nair Hospital Dental College. I enjoyed all the posts possible. Again, I'm the only person doing this in history of NHDC without any break, and retired as a dean, and I was honored and appointed as Professor Emeritus after 35 years gap after Dr. Jinwala. This seems as a fairy tale now, but I had my share of hard work, facing problems as woman, maintaining work-life balance. I had to struggle to get my problems as woman. I had to struggle to get my dedicated OT days sanction and all other related issues. But due to my strong family support and well-wishers and my mentors, I could sail through those ordeals and survive. I strongly believe that self-motivation, passion, commitment, perseverance, and dedication and sincerity leads you towards excellence. I've always strived to break gender barriers, as I believe that the only glass ceiling you have is the one you put on yourself. We have indeed come a long way from the term women surgeon being an oxymoron, as more and more women are owning up to the challenge of balancing home and this creative but tough profession. Apart from surgical skill and fortitude, women have unique advantage of being able to multitask and have natural instinct of compassionate caregiving, which is an asset for any surgeon. For the benefit of youngsters, let me tell you the background of Nair Hospital Dental College. After R. Ahmed Dental College in Calcutta, Nair Dental was the second premier dental institute in India and the first college in India to start post-graduation in 60s. Professor Jinwala had done his DDS and PG course in maxillofacial and plastic surgery from Canada under Dr. Risden. He was dean at NHDC from 63 to 73. Many senior people joined oral surgery under him, and afterwards they all went to different cities of the country to start PG program in oral surgery. That is the legacy, how this specialty took birth in India in 60s. I have witnessed the nomenclature and scope of oral surgery expanding as oral and maxillofacial surgery, craniofacial surgery over these years. Nair being the premier institute, there was abundance of clinical material Ours was the only institution all over India which had 2 main OTs and 20-bedded dedicated ward in Dental College first floor. Other colleges had these facilities in the medical college. We had patient referral from all over India, and most of the times we used to get complex mutilated cases. Professor Jinwala pioneered many surgical procedures in India and even started orthognathic surgery. I was the first one in India to choose this topic for my dissertation, surgical management of bimaxillary protrusion. Those days, literature available was sparse, and I had to write to American Dental Library by paying $15 to send me the related reprints. Most of them, they were in German language. Again, I had to contact translators to help me. To motivate the patients of this kind of surgery those days was difficult. But fortunately, we had some nursing staff with severe bimax who had faith and trust, and they became our first patients. And later on, motivated other patients by giving their own example and showing their before and after photos. They were such committed, lovely human beings. Till today, we are maintaining contact with them. Professor Chitre was one of the founder members to start our Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons of India. And we had formed a Bombay study group involving GDC staff and all oral surgeons in the city. I was involved in all the activities of Bombay study group. I was treasurer and scientific secretary. Initially, there were some hurdles in association activities, but in '79, the enthusiastic Bombay group revived the association activity after 6 years gap. And we organized All India second conference under Dr. Dudani, Dr. Chitre, Dr. Divan, Dr. Parulkar, Dr. Kelkar, Dr. Khanna, and many other seniors leadership. I was scientific secretary for the same, and that was my entry point in the affairs of association. The conference was held at famous Taj Hotel, and it was a grand success. During this time, I was 7 months pregnant, and I even delivered a scientific paper, panting, catching my breath, and managed the scientific activities. Next important phase of motherhood was in 80s, and I was falling short of 6 months experience for becoming promotion for HOD and professor, because in the beginning of the new year, Dr. Chitre left for Libya, and I was given charge of managing the department as associate professor. I had put up a request to municipal commissioner for not advertising the post, but they did not agree. And that is how I remain associate professor for 14 years without promotion. But I do not have regrets. I had my independent unit, and I was already PG's to guide. Dr. Khanna came as a HOD, and with mutual understanding, we strengthened the department. I had learned so much from him, as he is also excellent surgeon and teacher, and he was also very active in association activities. We both never missed participating in annual conferences, and Nair scientific deliberations were always about some new modalities and innovations, and at the forefront. We used to have maximum number of papers from our institute. We conducted and participated many hands-on workshops for the students all over India. We also developed first indigenous stoma care set and many surgical instruments, even TMJ condylar prosthesis with the help of AK Surgicals. Our Bombay group was always at the forefront those days, along with Dr. Deepak Kulkarni from Pune and many others. Deepak worked very hard for registering the association with the Charity Commissioner in 2000 and streamlined AOMSI accounts and so many other legal affairs of the association. The entire group was also instrumental in starting midterm conference with the theme of one dedicated topic of interest. And first midterm conference was held at Pune in '96, organized by Deepak, and Nair Dental again had major scientific contribution. Meanwhile, I was climbing the ladder in the association scenario, and in 2001 annual conference at Goa, I won the election for president-elect. A year before that, I had contested for the post, and that time I was asked by many opponents, of course some of the male members, to withdraw, but I declined, saying that I will accept the public mandate and not be afraid of losing the election. So I had the great honor of being First Lady President of AMSI in the year 2003. I was also invited to attend British Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons annual meeting at Glasgow in capacity of president as their guest of honor, and gave presentation on TMJ, ankylosis and oral submucous fibrosis. During my tenure, we organized and I presided over the function of first Indo-Lankan joint conference of oral and maxillofacial surgery held at Colombo, Sri Lanka in June 2003, where I released my textbook of oral and maxillofacial surgery in the hands of His Excellency Deputy High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Sri Mohan Kumar. Story about my textbook also may interest you. I used to travel all over India as examiner or DCI inspector and used to interact with staff and students. I realized that students are mostly using faulty notes handed over from seniors. There was no formal Indian textbook giving right information and covering entire syllabus for our subject. At the same time, my beloved daughter had joined dentistry and studying in Mangalore. As a mother, naturally, I was feeling sad that having taught so many students, I cannot teach my own daughter. So on her insistence, I started the writing and editing process of my book. It took me 2 years to complete the task. So I literally had to give her my printed proofs of the book for her to study the subject before formally releasing it. Those days, students never used to read textbooks. And many people told me that they will not use fat textbook. They like small guides. But I believed that I must impart knowledge the way I used to teach and stuck to it. It was very, I was very happy that over the years, all over Asia, it is well accepted, and many staff and students from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and some Asian region correspond with me, and I'm always open to suggestions which I incorporate in every new edition. During '99, AFMC had organized a workshop on distraction osteogenesis by Professor Wangrin from Germany. After attending surgical demonstration, I was fascinated by it. I read all possible literature available. I had some friends at Bombay Veterinary College. Their HOD surgery supported me, and I taught them dentistry for animals. I taught them how to set fractures using osteosynthesis for horses and dogs. Then they let me adopt 6 dogs through proper ethical clearance for developing and using distraction device. I had pledged that I will not sacrifice the animal for my experiment. So we developed and modified the internal indigenous distractor which were fitted on the dog's mandible after osteotomy. We had kept special attendant who prepare special food and feed the dogs and look after them for 2 months. Their mandibles were grown and radiographs were taken. Our modified devices were working well, and afterwards send it for the histopathological review and set back the mandible in original position by using threads, simultaneously demonstrating veterinary surgeons how to fix fractured bone. This was very exciting that we did not sacrifice the animal. We subsequently fine-tuned our devices, both the mandible as well as maxilla, and made these devices available for 6,000 each, while imported devices were available for 1 lakh or so. Our patients could not afford them. In 2006, I received Mayor's Award for helping the patients using this indigenous distractor. I was also by this time and HOD surgery since '96. My priority was always clinical work and patient care. Administration happened incidentally. My areas of interest were TM joint ankylosis, orthognathic surgery, distraction osteogenesis, oral submucous fibrosis care, benign tumors of the jaw, and of course trauma care. We used to operate minimum 2 cases in a week of TMJ ankylosis because of excellent support from our expert anesthesia department of Nair Medical, who had mastered the technique of blind awake intubation without doing tracheostomy. I thank Dr. Mrs. Divekar for starting this trend of managing difficult intubation. We shared special bond with all staff members of anesthesia department. Whenever we used to go for conferences, my anesthetics friends used to look after the patients post-operatively. This is almost unheard of. I still cherish their friendship. I remember how I had to struggle in 80s to convince orthodontists to do reverse orthodontics for the orthognathic cases. Here my better half came to my rescue and helped me with reverse orthodontics for decompensation. That was the beginning of surgical orthodontics in India, and me and my husband used to go and give lectures on this modality, introducing the benefit to different forums. AFMC people used to regularly call us for these lectures for their PG students. This became norm much later on all over. But initially, I had to face a lot of resistance. In September 93, me and my husband attended 14 Australian orthodontic conference in Adelaide, where the theme was vertical dimension, and we put up a poster of VME case treated with combined surgical orthodontics. When we were assembling our poster in the hall, suddenly one Australian fellow came and started fighting with me, looking at our poster and told us why you Indians want to participate and grab our awards. We were shocked, but later came to know that he was winning Best Poster Award for last 5 years. And looking at our poster, he was furious with the thought that he will lose it this year. We won the Best Overseas Poster Award and became famous as poster couple and enjoyed the hospitality in different cities in Australia due to the friendship via this poster. Anyways, my journey at Nair Dental College was quite fulfilling and rewarding in terms of inner satisfaction more than money, as our pay scale was not that great, but the interesting clinical work kept us on going. After retiring, I took much deserved break, and then School of Dental College in Karad, Maharashtra called me and offered a post of principal. Their college was new and students were in third year, facing a lot of problems from DCI, and it was almost on the verge of closure. I visited the campus, fell in love with its cleanliness, beauty, serenity. The management was very supportive and progressive. Their medical college was already well reputed in Maharashtra. Unfortunately, the staff of dental college did not do their job and mismanaged it. I decided to accept the challenge of reviving this institute in semi-urban setup, where getting good staff was also difficult. My seniors, my mentors told me that you are jumping in the well, Nilima, and you will spoil your reputation. I pleaded with them that I need 2 years to develop this institute, and if I fail, I have nothing to lose. This was the biggest challenge to me, but with God's grace and management's full support and non-interference gave me free hand, and we could clear all DCI multiple inspections through a lot of methodical hard work and planning within shortest time. And I had joined there in 2010, and by 2015 we were DCI recognized UG and PG institute. And by the time I retired, we had started 5 PG courses, and the institution came on the dental Indian map. So this difficult challenge was also met successfully. Again, I came back to Mumbai, started my clinical practice. In my wildest dreams also, I never saw myself as holding the highest executive honorable post of reputed university. Miracles happen. I started for the post of Vice Chancellor of King's U Karad. Again, my inner voice told me that there is no harm in applying for it. I had put all my certificates and award literally in the attic, thinking I will not need them anymore. I had to dig them all, sort them all. As for this post, you need so many proofs in different aspects. Then there were series of interviews by management and UGC empowered panel, where 3 candidates out of 33 applications were selected for the final round, and I was one of them. Later on, I came to know that all other applicants were from medical stream, and I was the only one from dentistry stream. 16/06/2016 was the glorious day in my life, as I was appointed officially as Honorable Vice Chancellor of prestigious Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, deemed to be university. Again, with God's grace, I received the honor of becoming First Lady Vice Chancellor in India from dental fraternity and also from Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery specialty of the Health Sciences University. I always dedicated this honor to my fraternity, my family, as well as to all lady maxillofacial surgeons all over India. During my tenure as Lady Vice Chancellor, I initiated many women-centric programs at university level, which was wholeheartedly supported and encouraged by our Honorable Chancellor and now Honorable Chancellor Dr. Suraj Gospel, who himself is a dedicated breast cancer surgeon. Working under his visionary patronage, I had wonderful, fruitful time, and we added many milestones in the history of our reputed university. I am at the twilight zone of my career and feel like retrospecting. If someone asks me question, would you like to have rebirth as a woman? Without hesitation, I will definitely answer a big yes. I have received much honor and various positions as first woman achiever in different capacities. It is not that all my life was cakewalk. I faced many problems as a girl, woman, but I was determined to overcome all and focused on finding solutions rather than cribbing. At this stage, I feel blessed and privileged. I thank profusely from my bottom of the heart to the different men in my life at different stages, right from my grandfather, father, husband, father-in-law, mentors, teachers, and well-wishers. Without their support and encouragement, I would not have been what I am today. My hats off to all women of substance in our profession who have endured, conquered, and evolved as a strong person in the society. I very much believe in retaining our femininity and inner beauty. We do not have to compete with men, but create our own identity as per the best of our ability. Love, compassion, dignity, strength, empathy, elegance, kindness, composure, courage, confidence, humble attitude and gratitude, innovative and honest mind and intelligence will lead you definitely towards self-rewarding empowerment. Embrace your individuality and be happy the way you are. Always remember that the best surgeons not only exhibit extraordinary technical skill, but much more. They value their mentors who provide exceptional knowledge of medicine and human relationships. They are humble and endowed with the ability to create and nurture a team with empathy, sharing in human suffering with dedication, and ultimately with love for patients, for family, for friends, and for humanity at large. I would like to end my heart-to-heart prologue with each one of you with a big thank you and much love and affection. I would like to pray to God Almighty for mankind's safety and happiness. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashit Dukkam Apnoe. Om Shanti Shanti. Jai Hind. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Our entire community of female Max Facts of India are actually indebted to you for setting a guiding path for us. For you, the lines by Mother Teresa are just apt. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water to create many ripples. At this juncture, we would like to reassure you the ripples that you have created, the efforts you have made will not go futile. The spark you had ignited has already culminated us together here today. It is with this in mind, Women Maxillofacial Network had utilized this lockdown period of the mega pandemic COVID-19 to shape up your vision, ma'am. You will find us somewhere in between, inspiring others, working on self, dodging negativity, and slaying our goals. Ma'am, it's a small token of our gratitude and appreciation for your guidance always. Thank you so much again.
We regret to inform Dr. Bodil is not joining us on the forum as she is involved with the COVID duties. I call upon Dr. Elevenil to invite our unstoppable founding member, Professor Divya Mehrotra.
Thanks, Ankita. A very good evening to all. It is indeed an honor to introduce Professor Divya Mehrotra, one of the trendsetters of oral and maxillofacial surgery in India. She completed her dental and surgical training from King George Medical College, Lucknow in 1995. Subsequently, she joined her alma mater as a faculty. She is currently the Dean, Quality Control, Assessment and Accreditation, and professor at the same university. She serves as the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Oral Biology and Craniofacial Research with an impressive site score of 2.7 in 2019 because of her constant nurturing. Her memberships and fellowships are numerous, with the significant ones being fellowships from the Royal Colleges of London, Glasgow, and Ireland, and also the National Academy of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. She is the recipient of numerous awards and scholarships from a multitude of national and international organizations, such as the AOCMF, UICC, ICMR, and Department of Science and Technology, India. Her academic proficiency is unparalleled, with 3 patents, 150 journal publications, 11 book contributions, and research grants up to 8.5 crores as a principal investigator. On that incredible note, let me invite Professor Mehrotra to deliver her lecture. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Venel. It was just a very elaborate introduction. Thank you. So I would like to emphasize the need for role models. And as we see, role models are the guide. They help us envision our dreams. So the role models provide us a vision for what we aspire to be. I need to remove my, just a second. I'll stop share and I'll remove my virtual background because that is not looking good. So thank you once again. Yeah. I think this is better without the back screen. Role models provide a vision for what we aspire to be. They provide an imaginable vision of success, which is attainable and replicable. So through the role models, we get a visual proof of what we want to become. We admire certain qualities in some people, certain conduct, certain behavior, some skills, and we wish to learn them and we wish to emulate them so that we are able to achieve that level what our role model has. So if we have a role model in our mind, that gives us an opportunity to learn and have a personal growth and development. So having a role model in your life is really good. But what is a role model? So to choose a role model, you have to see it. So you have to visualize what you want to become at a particular time. So what is your future? What do you want to see yourself as? So if you have that in mind, then you can have, yes, this is the picture I want to have. This is my vision. This is how I see myself. And then you can choose your role model. And if you don't have a picture in mind, it's very difficult to have your role model. If we look at Madame Curie, so she was a Polish-born physicist who dedicated her life to radioactivity. And she ultimately won a Nobel Prize and became the professor at the University of France. But can she be a role model? She is a role model because of all the of all the challenges, she could achieve what she wanted to achieve. But if we want to see ourselves as in our path, in our journey, we need to have someone who is in our maxillofacial specialty. And if we look at the person who was the first female surgeon in UK, it was Elizabeth Anderson. And of all the odds, of all the challenges, she became the first dean of the British Medical School. And she became the first mayor. So we can imagine how much difficult it would have been to be among all male-dominated population to achieve such greater heights at that time. So this is something to look at. As Chitra was saying, as Sabine was saying, if we look at the entry level, this is some report from 2018-19, only recent report, where you see if the medical school applicants were 51%. So after 51%, if you see the graduates, there is a gradual decline, and reaching to the level of leadership where the women become deans, it's only about 18%. So you see a decline in the leadership positions achieved by the women. And so you have very scarcity of role models, but you have to think what you want to achieve, what you want to become. So if with that vision, you have to see yourself, imagine yourself in your best mode, best self mode, and then you can find your role model, maybe national, maybe international, maybe clinical person, maybe building how you should have your relationship with your patients, with your colleagues, or how should be you attending other people in your life, and how, whether you have to have some spiritual leader, some spiritual role model, that you have to decide. So like all other people, my also journey at home, so I had my role model as my mom, who was an ordinarily extraordinary person, who was very independent, confident. She had very disciplined life, and she told us how to lead a disciplined life. She was a leader. She could, of all the challenges, she could win each problem she faced. And that's how we learned the first lesson from my mom. When I was doing my dentistry, I was quite naive. But when I started my training in maxillofacial specialty, I found my professor, Professor R. Pradhan, and he was an excellent surgeon, a very dynamic personality. He used to multitask. He was a very good orator, very good administrator. I admired him for his passion for life. He used to say, you have to work hard and you have to enjoy even more than you work. So that was his philosophy. And that's what we learned from him. So he was a very hard taskmaster. And I find that he actually is my role model, and we learned a lot from him. But also, when we are looking at our role model, we need to see what are the things we need to learn and what are the things we need not to learn. So that also has to be kept in mind, because he was very disorganized, and he was sometimes very rude, so he didn't have many friends. So you have to pick your qualities, what you want in a person. So they have to be different qualities can be learned from different people. You have to pick and choose so that you are a unique person. You being unique, you may have qualities which you may imbibe from different other people. Now, next was my exposure to two females who inspired me a lot. Dr. Nilima Malik, whom we heard today, she was the examiner. And when we were doing our post-graduation, she used to come as the external examiner. And the other lady is Mrs. Anjana Prakash. She was a political lady, but she came to us as a patient. So both of them were elegance personified, very modest people. And if you look at both of them, they were outstanding leaders, but with smiling faces, admirable personality. And both were working selfless, serving the community, good at heart. Now, what I picked up from Mrs. Anjana Prakash was that if you are in a community, everybody is respectful to the seniors. But if you are respectful even to your juniors, then you are a successful person. So you have to be having qualities not only to respect your seniors, but if you give respect to your juniors, you will earn their respect as well. Then all other teachers, so different qualities, how to talk to your patients. There was some teacher, how to keep yourself organized. So Professor Sandeep Kumar, how to start your research, how to involve in research. Then first Vice Chancellor of KGMU, Professor Mahendra Bhandari, he told us not to be bothered. So if there is any emotional stress, if it is happiness, don't be overexcited. If it is a disturbance, don't be bothered. So keep a calm life, keep yourself balanced. And then there was another Vice Chancellor who had a very good vision. So you have to dream. You have to have vision of what you want to achieve. So for KGM, you had a dream. So that's how we also gather different prospects from different people. And that is the role of the role models. So if we look at the literature, and this is recent 2020 literature, who says, if you look at the attributes of male role models, there are multiple attributes which have been described. But if you look at the attributes described of a female role model, it's only confidence or competence. So usually there is a scarcity of female role models. And if they are the role models, they are not described as beautifully as they are for the male members. we have to realize that everybody is a role model for some or the other person. As parents, we are role models for our children. As teachers, we are role models for our students. So not only our professional skills, but also our human character, how we are bearing, what are the moral values we are bearing, what is the strength, our knowledge, and are we sharing happiness? This is all being percolated by us, through us, to our next generation. So we have to maintain ourselves as a role model so that we build up a better community in the future. We have to love what we do, and what we love has to be done. So as Dr. Neela Mantrade was saying, don't limit your challenges, but instead challenge your limits. As women, we need to help other women. We have to empower them. We have to help them out, and without even telling the world that we are helping. So that's the way how we have to empower our female colleagues. And we have to surround ourselves with people who are going to take us higher. So if we have a good company, if our company is good, definitely we are going to lead to the path of success. So if I just say that the role models are important, they help us make unique people, they help us build confidence, they help us communicate and interact with people, they help us learn humility, they help us learn respect and concern for others, and boost our capacity to work with challenging situations and people. And with this, if I could have my first poll question, the impact of role model in your evolution as a person, has it been in spirituality, if it is in career choice, if it is in professional identity, or if it has helped you in augmenting professional skills? So let's see what has been the role of role models in your life.
Divya ma'am, we'll be starting with the poll after this.
Yes.
Thank you so much. She was unstoppable, not because she did not have failures or doubts, but because she continued on despite them. Thank you, Dr. Divya. Your multitasking and zeal has been an inspiration to one and all, and you are surely a role model for many of us. After this wonderful talk, as Divya ma'am was saying, it's the time to take opinion of our participants. So for this, I'll hand over to Nirmal to start with a small poll session.
Thanks, Ankita. I hope all of you are having a pleasant time with us today. While we're trying to connect our fraternity, we are aware that certain situations need to be better understood to achieve parity at the earliest. Towards this, we would like to hear from you. Please engage in the polls and let your voice be heard. The polls are anonymous, so do feel free of any inhibitions. Since all of you have had a considerable amount of time, I'm going to stop it in the next 15 seconds. I hope everyone has voted. The questions are: the impact of a role model in your evolution as a person has been spirituality, making a career choice, professional identity, augmenting professional skills. And the next question is, do you feel that job reservation is needed for women surgeons to achieve parity? Yes. Yes for a few years. No. Okay, with this, our poll time comes to an end. We can see the results immediately. So professional identity clearly takes the lead. And also, I think people agree that reservation is needed at least for a few years. That's great. Thank you for making your voice heard.
Thanks, Nirmal.
Over to you. Yeah, over to you.
Thanks, Nirmal. Yeah. Our next panelist is another vast ocean of knowledge and experience from a different world. To introduce her, I would like to invite Lakshmi Shetty to please do the honor.
Thank you, Ankita. It's indeed an honor on behalf of Women Maxillofacial Network to introduce the next speaker for the evening, Professor Dr. Patricia Radias from Brazil. Patricia Radias is a consultant professor at Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery Department, Syrio-Lebanese Hospital, Brazil. She completed her DDS at Piracicaba Dental School in the year 1993, Oral and Maxillofacial training at the Sao Paulo University, 99, Master in Science in the year 2004. 2014, she completed her fellowship in TMJ arthroscopy at the Baptist Health South Florida under the stalwart guidance of Joseph McCain. Patricia Radiash is the Regional Faculty of Craniomaxillofacial Clinical Division of AO Foundation, AOCMF Facebook Ambassador from Brazil, Surgical Coordinator of Fellowship, Brazil. Her credential as AOCMF Regional Faculty at various AOCMF deliberations and publications on temporomandibular joint arthroscopy inspire each one of us. Patricia Radiash is also the TMJ section editor of Craniomaxillofacial Trauma and Reconstructive Surgery Journal. I welcome Patricia to enlighten us all on professional life experiences with maxillofacial surgery.
Thanks.
Divya gave me the option to speak in 5 minutes a little bit about my life experience as a maxillofacial surgeon in this meeting. I am very happy for the invitation, many to speak at the women's meeting. I'm Brazilian. I live in São Paulo City, the largest city in Latin America with 20 million people, different from the billion people in India. I work in the ER of the 5 large. This is my teamwork. Dr. Gabriel Pastor and I are the coordinators, and this is our current staff. These are my fellows and observership in this year from several cities of Brazil. Most students come to learn TMJ arthroscopy and orthodontic surgery. In AO CMF Fellowship Program, São Paulo, we receive fellows from Latin America and other countries, as Dr. Alejandro from Argentina, Dr. Mariana from Brazil, Dr. Jorge from Ecuador, and Dr. Camilo from Colombia. A little bit about the history. Lucy Hobbs Taylor was the first dentistry woman registered in the United States after being denied in the dentistry college. And only 92 years later, Dr. Elaine Stubner was the first woman in the American Council of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery. And in honor of her, the American College of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons created a scholarship for women in the last 3 years with $5,000 to take part in scientific meeting for 1 year. So, Leonor Santos was the first dentist in Brazil. The cost of the tooth extraction performed by a man was 40,000 penny, and the same surgical procedure by a woman cost only 5,000 penny, 80% less. The USA took 150 years to increase about 30% the women in dentistry. On the other hand, Brazil took only 20 years to reach the same number. But in the last 20 years, Brazil increased only 1%. In Brazil, OMS women represented 23%, while in the United States, only 80% for all surgeons. Among 30 OMS medical residency programs registered at the Brazilian College of Surgery, only 2 heads are women, with 50 years of foundation and the second largest entity of OMS in the world. No woman was president of the OMS Brazilian College. I think it's not easy for any woman in the world to face all kinds of stones on the way, but we are strong and determined. What do you think of these questions? If I am firm in a matter, I am a tick. If I am gentle and democratic, I am very soft and effective. If my surgeon has an interference, it's treated as an inevitable event. If I have an interference, this means competence. According to Dr. Laskin, most men have negative perceptions about the OMS women. Improper physical strength, little emotion capacity, slow work, don't like working for hours, get tired easier. And in personal life, about OMS surgeons after the 40 years, never get married, 1.8% against 24%. Do not have children, 8.3% against 46%. While in Brazil, this number is 70% of OMS women. A little high number, and because this one, in my presentation, I said that I have 2 children. Here are articles showing the satisfaction of OMS women. According to a study in India, more examples of women surgeons are missing in the area, mainly in leadership positions. In the work, OMS women feel more gender discrimination and more pressure in Brazil than in India. And a curious data in India is that most women believe to have the same opportunities that men in the work. In Brazil, this number is variable. Like the south of Brazil, the women prefer less opportunities for being a more competitive environment. This is my son Enzo, he's 18, he studied medicine. And when he was 10 years old, and I asked him if he was sad because he saw me very little during the week, and he replied, "Mom, I know you do the best for me. You struggle so much, inspire me." In that moment, he gave me strength to the barrier, and after all, he did inspire me.
Hello, I'm Enzo. I'm Patricia's son. And she told me that you guys were supposed to talk about this subject, and then I wanted to talk a little bit about what I think. And well, you guys know my mom is a really great surgeon, but that doesn't mean that she left me, she left my sister or my dad behind. No, not at all. She's a great mother, she's a great wife. So there are these people with a wrong idea of how society must be, that you woman can't do it just because you're a woman, or I don't know what they think, but that's not right. You know, that's not right. So you guys can do it. Just focus, just follow your dreams, you know? And then you can be just like my mom. She's the real proof that you can do it all. Okay? So keep on it and thank you. Hello.
My professional academic life is divided into 4 phases. Phase 1 is the phase in my training where I learned to be oral maxillofacial surgeon. the phase of knowledge and training in my graduation, my doctor residence, master's degree, and specialization courses in anatomy, surgery, and implantodonty. At this stage in my life was facial trauma, pathology, maxillar reconstruction, and bone grafting. In my doctor residence, these two women residents did not continue as surgeons. At this stage in my life, it was jaws, fractures, and facial trauma. I was introducing rigid internal fixation plates. And so much pathology with mandibular reconstruction, bone grafting, and facial implants. And as assistant professor, doctor resident in OMS. In the doctor resident program, we taught orthodontic surgery in the time without virtual planning. Well, phase 2. It is the phase of transmitting, acquiring knowledge. As university professor for 20 years, coordinating as a specialization course in surgery and oral implants, and as assistant professor, doctor resident in OMS. My life in that phase was all about teaching tooth extraction, bone grafting, and oral and facial implants. And some cases of jaws osteonecrosis began to appear. Here, the bone grafts and implants cases. Well, phase 3. In this phase, I increased my specific knowledge with an TMJ arthroscopy fellowship. I become an AOCMF faculty and participate as a professor in the Master and Doctor Postgraduate program at the Hospital Sírio-Libanês. We started the fellowship program at Instituto Vita. In this moment, I taught only graduate surgeons in surgical field. In AOCMF courses, I had the opportunity to meet OMS surgeons from different countries. In Vita courses, I had the opportunity to meet fellows from different countries and totally different cultures. This is my fellow Mohammed from 2 years ago, and the consul from Emirates in São Paulo. Phase 4, our service became a reference as a host center AOCMF fellowship program, the only center in Latin America receiving fellows from all countries. Then I become AOCMF faculty online, and I am a mentor and ambassador for Latin America OMS Women Surgeons. I am also improving as an AOP teacher to research and as deputy editor TMJ surgery in 2 journals in CMTR Open and the GBC OMS. Education has always been a big part of my career. I was a head of Paulista University more than 20 years, and besides teaching, I help other professors' careers, including budget in our education pathway in dental school, OMS Doctor Resident Program, and also postgraduate always with new methods. It's impossible to be a surgeon and forget completely about your business. With great friends, I become a part of Vita with different specialties and more than 40 doctors. Last year, we did 2,000 surgeries and training more than 40 fellows, reaching the ones who do not have access to educational centers to transform their lives like happened to me is really fantastic. Thanks so much. Obrigada a presença de todos. These are my contacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patricia, for a very nice talk on professional life experience with maxillofacial surgery. I now invite Dr. Deepa to call upon Dr. Victoria Beale to the forum.
Thank you, Kavita. Good evening, everyone. Professor Victoria Beale is a consultant oral and maxillofacial surgeon based at the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital and Manchester Royal Infirmary, with a practice comprising of all aspects of primary and secondary cleft lip and palate surgery. Miss Beale trained at Newcastle University, qualifying in dentistry and medicine. She finished her maxillofacial higher surgical training program from west of Scotland. Victoria was awarded a prestigious National Cleft Interface Fellowship in 2006, gaining extensive experience in the management of patients with cleft lip and palate and related conditions in various cleft centres in Leeds, Newcastle, Guy's and St. Thomas Hospital in London, and also at Salisbury District Hospital. Her areas of special interest include pediatric oral and maxillofacial surgery, primary and secondary cleft lip and palate surgery, facial deformity, and maxillofacial trauma. Presently, she is the clinical director of the Northwest England, Isle of Man, and North Wales Cleft Lip and Palate Network, a member of Cleft Lip Palate Training Interface Group, the Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery Specialty Advisory Committee, and the UK Cleft Development Group. In 2018, Victoria co-founded the Society of Women in Maxillofacial Surgery. A warm welcome to our forum, Professor Beale. Due to network issues today, Professor Beale will be sharing a video to guide women taking up MaxFac surgery as a career option. Thank you.
Congress of Maxillofacial Surgery. And as far as I'm aware, this is certainly a sort of global first. So, it's been an incredible opportunity for all of us to get together around the globe. I've been asked to speak and give advice to young women MaxFac surgeons already pursuing a career in maxillofacial surgery, and also give some advice to those who might be contemplating the specialty as a career option. So, start off with advice to young women MaxFac surgeons. Well, congratulations. You've already made the jump to commit to an amazing specialty, and you've got an incredible career ahead of you. Your ambition and your commitment is certainly not in doubt. But the question is, how are you going to thrive professionally? Well, let's start by thinking about clinical experience. Your clinical skills will grow with you. Many of you will enjoy all aspects of our brilliant specialty, but the key is to train with as many people as possible to help you become a rounded and adaptable clinician. This will give you a really fulfilling career and get the best outcomes for your patients. Sometimes it can be unnerving when you work with different surgeons. You think you've mastered technique and they try and get you to do it a different way. You almost feel like you're starting from scratch, but stick with it. At the end of the day, you'll be a surgeon who doesn't just do things one way because that's the only way you've been taught. You'll be adaptable and an incredible clinician. For some people, subspecialty interest is something they're going to develop. And it's certainly, going to make you an expert in that area, which can be very satisfying and help you to become, focus your energy on one particular area and be as good as you can be at that. And that, for me, as a subspecialist surgeon in cleft surgery, has been great. That sort of expert in one area, and people often will come to you and ask advice, and hopefully you'll become a leader in the specialty, both nationally and internationally, and that will open up lots and lots of opportunities for you. For some, it may be cleft, some oncology, some TMJ, some deformities, skin cancers. The list is really diverse. But the important thing is to find the area that you really enjoy the most and allow yourself to develop professionally as to your best ability. And this is where fellowships come in. Now, some of you may be concerned that if you do a fellowship, you're going to be training forever. All trainees want to finish their training as quickly as possible and get to consultant. But I tell you what, when you get here, you never look back and wish you'd done less training. So don't be put off by a fellowship because it takes more time. Embrace it, enjoy it, and when you look back, you'll be really glad that you did. So there are other ways as well to enhance yourself in your career and your experiences. Courses are really important in your professional development, as are conferences. And one of the things that in recent months that has been really positive is the explosion of sort of webinars and e-conferences and e-courses. And if there's one positive from this pandemic, and there are a few, certainly that is it. So in medicine globally and the opportunities that we now have, that many of us would have needed a lot of resources to get to meetings or to a lot of expense to get to courses. It's much more accessible now than it was, and that is just incredible. And what about research? Some may be contemplating a research career. Some of you may already have a higher degree or be contemplating one. And that's great. Without academics, we would not progress in medicine and surgery. But academia isn't for everyone. For others, such as myself, maybe your involvement will be more sort of getting involved in supporting both national and international trials to try and help the specialties and our understanding of maxillofacial surgery progress. And that's something you can look out for opportunities to get involved with as a trainee. And there'll be plenty of opportunities that will both enhance your competitiveness as you go through your career, but also be very fulfilling and satisfying in terms of you as an individual. So what about you, the individuals out here, maybe those students, medical or dental students, who are thinking about a career in the specialty? Well, for me, I made the decision to become a maxillofacial surgeon when I was a fourth-year dental student. I made the jump very early on, and I've never looked back and had any regrets. I've had an amazing career, and you know, you will never ever be bored as a maxillofacial surgeon. I can guarantee that. So before you can, you know, make any decisions, what you need is the information and the experience to be able to make an informed decision. So get in touch with your local maxillofacial unit and the surgeons. Go and spend some time with them. You know, without a doubt, there is variation in maxillofacial globally. For some of you, a career in maxillofacial surgery will involve dual degrees. You know, if you're a medic, you may need to go back and do dentistry, or a dentist, do medicine as a second degree. And it is, I have to admit, quite a long career. But, you know, at the end of the day, what you gain from that is, you know, you just cannot compete with it, you know. But regardless, whether you're going for a single or dual qualified pathway, it is a big commitment to maxillofacial surgery. It isn't a 9-to-5 job. You'll need to take into account on call as you go through your career, and you know, the sort of lifestyle choices, which have been discussed already today. And I'm sure there'll be more discussion in the sort of forum later on. So the important thing is, make an informed decision. Is the specialty right for you? But once you've made that decision, if you feel it's right for you, embrace it and enjoy it. So, you know, it's really important. The connections that you make now, be it with your consultants or the registrars or with the students as you come through, will stay with you for life. For example, Divya, who invited me to talk today, I met her when she was doing a fellowship in Glasgow. And you know, that was when I was a registrar. So it is wonderful watching other people's careers sort of thrive and develop as well as your own. Professional organisations, they're certainly going to have a role for you throughout your career, be it specialty or subspecialty interest organisations. So get involved with your organisation, become a member, keep in touch. Maybe even become one of the representatives if the opportunity is there as a trainee or as a consultant. And women's organisations, you know, there's no doubt that female-specific support is invaluable to us. Certainly women have, you know, perhaps different needs in some ways to the men. Our colleagues have spoken about that today. And another thing that's really made a difference in recent years is social media. Social media has opened up maxillofacial surgery and the world in general. And it's through social media that we're all here today. So again, embrace the social media. But here's something that we all have to remember. Something that's common to all of us and is a real problem, and that's imposter syndrome. It's a significant limiting factor in the career of many surgeons, but female surgeons in particular. And what do I mean by imposter syndrome? Well, this is a psychological pattern in which people doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, often internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. It's characterized by traits of perfectionism, overworking, undermining one's own achievement, fear of failure, and discounting praise. I mean, it's incredibly common amongst women in general and surgeons. In fact, women are 18% more likely to experience imposter syndrome than their male counterparts. But the important thing is to recognize it and embrace it and not let it define you or hold you back in your career. So I just want to finish off by saying, what's my advice? Well, the advice is go for it. You know, just go for it and become the best surgeon, the best person you can be. And I'm confident that you will. But I can't continue without acknowledging that surgery is, in general, but maxillofacial surgery in particular, is a male-dominated specialty. But the picture is very different today to what it was 20 years ago, when there were virtually no maxillofacial surgeons who are females. And I know the situation now is very different to what it's going to be in the future as well. In the past, maybe women might have said surgery made a man out of me. But honestly, you do not have to be a man to be a surgeon. Certainly not a maxillofacial surgeon. You just be yourself. this meeting today has been a wonderful opportunity to get together and get some support and hopefully some inspiration, and to feel that as a female, a female in maxillofacial surgeon, that this is the right place for you. But one other thing that's incredibly important is mentorship, and I really do recommend that you get yourself a mentor, and that's something that Divya is going to talk about now. So thanks very much. Wonderful to be with you. Sorry I can't be here in person. As you can see, I'm in Wales on a canal boat holiday, but holiday or not holiday, work-life balance is important, but the maxillofacial surgeon is always in you. So thanks very much.
Professor Victoria, it was vivid and enlightening to hear your words of wisdom. Wish to hear you live again next time. A big thanks to you on everyone's behalf. With this, we come to the end of first segment. Now we move, though we are getting late, but we move on to the much awaited panel discussion and open forum. For this, I would like to call upon Professor Chitra, Aarti, and Nurmal. Over to you guys.
Aarti, would you like to start?
Absolutely. What an impressive conference, and I'm really glad to be a part of this conference. Very impressive talks, actually. So my focus has been on few of the conversations here. Mentorship for especially the younger generations. Mentoring plays such a pivotal role in empowering women. Traditionally, when I was growing up, and traditionally what I've seen is mentorship has always been like a single mentor and a mentee relationship, and a kind of a program where we can kind of get mentorship from an individual person. But going forward, I think it's very important to have a constellation of mentors, as this Congress, the network is such a perfect example for that. Having small encounters and making even short and small encounters as a wonderful mentorship opportunity. And that's actually really good. So with that in mind, I have a question for Divya on giving us this inspirational talk on mentorship. So what has been the biggest factor that's been helpful to you to be successful in your career? And what are your expectations from mentees? What do you look for in them? Divya? Actually, if not for Divya, I would would like to direct
I
think Divya is available. I think Divya is
okay. Sorry, I didn't hear what did you say. Can you please repeat?
I can, absolutely, yeah. So my question was, what's the biggest factor in your career life that was helpful in getting you to be successful? And what do you look forward in the younger generation as mentees? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. What I think for me has been my passion for maxillofacial surgery, my persistence that I have to do it, I can do it, I will do it. So that has been a major factor that has pushed me do and achieve what I wanted to. My patience, keep on doing, don't think of the result, go ahead, and the people around me. So my family, my husband, my children, my parents, everyone has been so supportive. So that is about how I have moved forward. But talking
wonderful.
about what I would, what was your second question?
The question was like, we have so many younger generations in our audience. So if they're looking for mentors, what are you looking for in mentees? What are the qualifications they should have? What are the qualities they should develop? You know, that's a big expectations. And I think mentees should kind of have those qualities in them too to develop. And this is a perfect time for that.
I think I look for eager minds, thinking minds. So if the person has a passion, a desire to learn, he or she is a motivated person, sense of responsibility and values. So that is what I look for in a person to be a mentee. So, and there has to be something like, do it now. If you want to do it now. Don't delay the things. So that's how I want my trainees to be working with me.
That's a very good take-home message for all of us. Do other panelists have any viewpoints on this question? Yes, yes, Sabine.
Yeah, I think, I think mentorship is extremely important. And I think, Divya, thank you for your fantastic talk about role models. I think I was very interested to hear that your mother was very strong. And I think a lot of us women are influenced by our mother's role models, which is very important, and the mentoring. And, I think mentoring makes you feel connected to a group, makes you feel you belong to a group, and that you are actually respected and wanted. Right. And I think this is a very important signal that also every department and all of the leaders and teachers, men and women, should give to young women. I think at a later point in their career, sponsorship becomes very important. Mentorship is part of this. Sponsorship is actually to suggest people for roles that they can obtain, that become open and things like that. So I think mentorship and sponsorship go hand in hand, and we should always think of both.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And thank you, Divya, once again. So from my thoughts, growing a world of class mentoring culture demands more than just a matching program or having programs where we can find mentors. I think it needs a lot of actively engaging colleagues in our profession with diverse experiences, and as well as an ability to understand the global culture. And that would kind of bring the entire world into a nutshell, and that would also fuel inclusion in the younger generation who want to be mentees. So with that, I pass it on to Chitra if you have any questions for our panelists.
Yes, I do. Yes, yeah. I do. Sabine, I would like to direct this question to you. What advice would you give someone going into a leadership role, a woman, for the first time?
It's a very good question. So I think if you're going into a leadership role, the initial thing is what is very important is to understand what the people you are leading want. Yeah, so I think it's very important to be open and to actually seek a personal conversation with as many people as you can and sort of get their ideas. I think leadership is always service. It's service to what other people, to the vision of yourself and other people. Of course, you have to create a vision, but this vision needs to be based on the people you are leading. So I think it's a two-way street, leadership, that you understand what other people want, and then you also develop your own vision on that and have this sort of feedback loop going on. And I think it's initially very, very important as a first step, understand the situation, understand, what other people want you to do. Yeah, because you are their representative. You are not sort of, leadership is not about leadership in itself. It's about the service to the community that you are leading. Yeah. And of course, as a woman, you have to be doubly careful because, I think there was one of these interesting slides. If you are too assertive, you can come across, you are as not fitting to your role model as a woman. And if you're too timid, it doesn't work either. So I think as a woman, I always felt it's very successful if you create good communication. And that is the hallmark of good leadership, I think, good two-way communication.
Absolutely. That's a very good insight, Sabine. Thank you so much. Really nice. Nirmal, would you like to continue?
Yeah, actually, my next question was, directed in general to all the panelists. Do you think, actually, Dr. Sabine just elaborated on that. What I wanted to ask you was, do you think people want to work with a female colleague who is ambitious, decisive, and assertive? Do you think that is welcome? Actually, you spoke a little bit about it, but maybe we should also get the opinion of the other panelists. Dr. Shubhra, Dr. Patricia, Dr. Victoria.
So Sabine, it's you.
I already addressed that, and I know that I come across as very assertive sometimes, but, I also think what's important is what Victoria said, you have to be yourself. Yeah, you cannot always try to anticipate what other people want, how you behave. Of course, you are running the risk of, having this, your role as a leader directly contradicts your role as a woman. But I think in the end you have to be a little bit true to yourself. But you can always know about these your own faults of maybe being too assertive, and you can be humble and you can ask for feedback. Yeah, so I think that is very important, that as a woman leader that you also, I really enjoyed the talk of Professor Malik, who is very soft-spoken and obviously a fantastic leader and very successful. And I think a big part of good leadership is also the emotional intelligence of understanding how other people feel. Yeah, because how you make other people feel will be appreciated, and it really, that is what you have to reflect as a leader. You have to sort of have this insight, how you come across and constantly better yourself in that, and I think you can also address that and say, look, I know I'm very assertive, and invite other people's opinions, be conscious about that. Yeah. Again, I think communication is the hallmark of good leadership. Good communication, listening to others more listening than talking. Yeah.
I agree.
Striking that perfect balance is really important.
Right.
It is hard for everybody. It's also hard for men. I mean, I don't think that we have a unique problem here. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Sabina.
Yeah. Dr. Patricia?
Yes. Do your best. I think do your best a little bit better every day. Try to best close to your staff. I think is more important.
Yeah.
Is near closer. No.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes,
that's a very good point as well. With regards to the other lecture we had, Victoria, what a wonderful lecture, what a wonderful detailed messaging and very good pointers and take-home messages for the younger generation. Love the detailing in that. At the same note, I would like to introduce one of our other panelists as well, Dr. Shubhra Chauhan. So ease of getting to know somebody over a network this is the best example for that. Shubhra and me, we just kind of spoke over phone, and within 5 minutes from Dr. Chauhan, she became Shubhra to me. So Shubhra is a well-known head and neck oncosurgeon and a consultant from Chennai. Trained in OMS in Chennai, she pursued her passion and completed 4 fellowships in head and neck oncosurgery. That loudly speaks of her perseverance and passion to care for patients and to stay updated and be a patient advocate. With that being said, thank you, Shubhra, for being a part of this panel. And the question for you I have, and for all the other panelists is, what are the challenges faced by the recent graduates as they kind of try to apply for fellowship or get into fellowship? And what changes do you foresee in future which would optimize their career experience? What kind of policies do you think we can get in place?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity by the organizers and all of you. So it's like not exactly challenges, I can say, for getting fellowship per se, but when you are competing in a forum, like for a fellowship, I don't think there is too much of gender bias, to be very true, when your capabilities are true. But I did send across, and I did take opinion from a lot of my junior and parallel colleagues, just my personal ones. And they were these,
doing that.
Yeah. So there were these people, like I can say the challenge is starting from the postgraduate level. The girls who are just coming in from the BDS, they have these small inner fears about very small things, like how are they going to be as a surgeon? Because at many places still, I don't know about many other countries, but in India, they did face even few years back till so comments like, you guys are like, ladies and girls are good with theory, you're good at research work, paper writing you may be good at, but you can't make good surgeons, you can't be good you can't be skillful. And this is the way they enter the department. Though the seniors haven't seen many lady surgeons coming in and doing skillful work. So from that to small things like they're scared about doing night duties alone. These things don't matter at a point at our level, maybe when we have done so much of work, but these are the challenges that start facing at that level. And this challenge, of course, gets, I can say, waded off, and you come over it by the time you're finishing, because it just depends on your training and the skill you show during, and your sincerity you showed your work. And actually all the ladies or the girls are able to come over it. So it's not the main challenge over there. But primarily, I can say, even if you particularly mentioned fellowship, I faced a lot of obstacles even to get my first fellowship break actually. But I don't think that was specifically for being a lady. You just need to have some purposes. And even the male counterparts are facing the same, especially because when you're doing a head and neck onco, you have competition from your ENT colleagues and your general surgery colleagues. So that is not something very specific gender bias. But what I feel is after finishing and when you start stepping into workplace, that is where we face the maximum challenge, because the small challenges which we face during surgery, during post graduation, I mean, you have already overcome them by now. You're not scared to take a night call alone. You're not scared to operate maybe. But the challenges as a young female starting to work alone are many. People in hospitals, people in departments, and even coming to the level that people as in patients are not very easy and comfortable taking female as the surgeon, and especially as the primary surgeon, I can tell you. And I have faced this for quite some time in my life. So it takes a while. You may be the primary surgeon, but it takes a lot of toll from the faculty level even to the patient level to accept you as a primary surgeon for any surgery for that matter. So that is something which can become like, how do we overcome, if you say? It's primarily by your skill, of course. So this is my personal opinion for anything. If we are good with our work and if we are skillful and we can commit ourselves to it, eventually it will show up. So eventually it will make your work will make the other person silence. Let them speak. It's not that another person or another senior may not speak against you, and it may not be a male also, it may be a female also, you never know. But the point is your work is the one which will eventually speak. So when you do good work, when they see that, yes, so primarily the key point I feel for anybody is that you become the master of your work, and if you do that, nobody else will be able to speak. So that's how I think the best way to overcome the challenge. And of course, all of us have spoken about this. In between this PG, working, or after working, we do come across motherhood, which is one of the most beautiful thing in our life. But that period is a challenge, because whatever balance we say, the work and the home balance is very difficult to maintain that time, and you do need support. So if you're trying to mean that I'm a multitasker, I can do everything on my own, I can do it alone, then I think it's a little too much. And it's not my child, it is our child always. So it is a responsibility of both the counterparts to take part, and I think your husband should share the responsibility. You can share the responsibility with the in-laws, with your parents during this period specifically. So it's not heroism, or I don't say it's trying to be a superwoman telling that I can balance everything. You do need support this time. So it's better that you overcome this part of your challenge on this part of your time with support, and that's really important.
Thank you, Shubhra. Thank you so much for those words.
Such a wonderful point you have made, Shubhra. It says your work speaks for itself. I don't think you need to prove yourself to anybody. Your work will prove itself, actually. That's such a wonderful
I
point.
agree with you.
Dr.
Totally agree with you, Chitra.
Yes.
We have Dr. Ambika Chadha. She wants to speak something. We've unmuted her.
Please. Yes, please, Ambika, go ahead.
Hello, it's Ambika Chadha here from the UK. I just wanted to say that last minute Miss Beale asked me to step in for her if there were any relevant contributions I could make to questions. But by no means do I feel I have to add to the excellent answer that we just had. I just wanted to let you know that Miss Beale had substituted me for herself.
We would be happy to have your opinion, Ambika, on any of the questions, yes.
I mean, the questions are very wide-ranging, and really, I think I would just be reiterating a lot of what we've said in these excellent talks. My background is as a trainee. I'm not fully qualified yet, but I'm a final year trainee. And in the UK, as Miss Beale alluded, we have a very long, protracted training path because of the need for double qualification. I think one of the most important things to young and aspiring maxillofacial surgeons is to follow your passion. That's my overriding advice to any of the young surgeons who approach me for advice. And I loved what Professor Giraud said when she said, invest in your educational capital. And the only thing I have to say with balancing all of those ambitions and motherhood, and I have 3 children of my own, is that you need to plan ahead and get very, very organized. Anna was just said, you need to invoke all the help that you can without feeling any guilt about it. I very much believe in the oxygen theory of motherhood, which, like passengers who are sat on a plane are instructed to do, that should there be a shortage of oxygen, please apply your own oxygen mask before applying it to your children. And that is counterintuitive to all mothers who tend to put their children first. But I've seen from my own experience that if you don't derive professional satisfaction, or you don't feel that your own needs are being met, or you're applying your faculties to their greatest potential, then actually you're not going to be a great mother, and you're not going to be a great wife, a friend, or daughter. So that's my personal tip to anybody who is contemplating motherhood with a career in maxillofacial surgery.
Thank you, Ambika.
That is a
I think
wonderful,
that
thank
makes,
you.
yeah.
I love the oxygen
That makes a
theory
lot
too.
of sense.
Yes.
Right, yeah. And you could be a first example for your kid, you know, when we kind of educate ourselves. I think that makes a lot of sense. And with whatever we have gathered from all the panelists, I think some of the pointers for the younger generation and take-home messages are be present, and then network, and very important to represent ourselves in national and international forums, as Sabine was talking about, and invest in education. What a wonderful point, love it. And mentorship, as Divya was talking about, and kind of staging your life, as Patricia was giving us example. And, you know, it's just wonderful to have all this information and globally listening to all that. And I think also from our senior colleagues, just having wonderful mentors and being mentors of the moment, where, you know, have a short encounter, we can have, each encounter can be made into a mentorship program. That's wonderful. And I think having a network like this would make a wonderful stage for that. Do you guys have anything to add on, Chitra and Nirmal?
Sorry, there was just one last question from in the question box, actually, which was directed to Sabine. I think this would be a good way to kind of close the session. Sabine, this is a question from Zarina, and she says, thank you for highlighting the importance of lifting each other to promote other women. Can you explain ways in which we can encourage this more, and perhaps some of the barriers that have not encouraged this in the past? Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, so I think, you know, I think we are unconsciously biased against ourselves. That is a real problem. Yeah, and I think we always have to ask ourselves, if we see a resident, if we see a colleague, if we see a leader who is a woman, you know, is this person qualified, and or do I have emotional, you know, an emotional reaction to, you know, how she is leading. I cannot say he in this case, because it's a she, of course, right?
Okay.
I think a very good example is, for example, you know, politicians in this country, how they were defamed for being strong leaders. Yeah, and you know, I think we also see that. So I think we also have to be very wary. And if there's an opportunity and we see a qualified resident, colleague, or leader, then we should support this person. And I think, again, it's not only about the mentorship, it's also about the sponsorship. So if there is, you know, an opportunity to fill a post with somebody, we should always look, is there a qualified woman around that I can recommend? Can I step forward and say, why don't you look at this woman? So we have to be active supporting ourselves. And, you know, I think this is something that naturally happens in our societies among the men. They're like, oh, there's this young colleague that I had a great beer with in this bar at this conference. He would be fantastic, right? Yeah, but because the majority are male leaders, they are not thinking of women. So the first step is that we think of women. And I think I would like to close the session and say that we need to reach out to our male colleagues and say, look, we are here. We would love to help. We would love to be part of this with all of you. And I think we would find a lot of positive response. I think there's simply not awareness that we are here. And so I think we have to individually reach out to our male colleagues and say, in every occasion, this is something I would like to do. How can I help with this? Can you help me do this? And really keep this conversation going. And I think we will change the world.
wonderful closing words, Sabine. I really love it.
It is.
Yes, very, very inspiring. Thank you so
I
much.
thank Professor Chitra, Dr. Nilmal, and Dr. Aarti for the wonderful moderation of panel discussion. And also to all the panelists, Dr. Sabine, Dr. Patricia, Dr. Divya, and Dr. Shubhra for joining in and providing wonderful insights to the panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.
I understand it's a weekend, that too late evening. So without delaying further, I would request an accomplished yet humble and gracious Max Pack of Arts, Dr. Reena, to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ankita. As with all good things in life, today's event has come to a close. On behalf of the Women Maxillofacial Network, it's my privilege to thank one and all who have made this event a grand success. At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Neelima Malik for having graciously delivered the Vanaja oration. She is an inspiration always to all, irrespective of gender. Thank you, Professor Malik. I would like to thank the young maxillofacial surgeon aspirant, Dr. Aparna, for her beautiful vocal rendition. It is my privilege to thank each and every one of our esteemed panelists, Professor Sabine Giro from USA, Professor Divya Merhotra from India, Professor Patricia Radiak from Brazil, and Professor Victoria Beale from UK for their time and efforts to express their views on women in the field of maxillofacial surgery. Appreciate all your efforts, knowing fully well that you were multitasking between other responsibilities. The topics you chose are very relevant for today, and I'm sure that young and senior, male and female, would have taken a take-home message from each of you. I feel a thrill as I thank Dr. Chitra Chakravarti, who introduced the forum to us through her excellent presentation, her organizational capacity and discipline, and her no-nonsense attitude with fantastic leadership skills was instrumental in steering us all together and keeping us focused in our preparation of this event. Thank you, Dr. Chitra. A special thanks to Dr. Taranjit Kaur, whose brainchild is this Women Maxillofacial Network. Her energy and ideas are difficult to keep pace with. It is this lady who is the one who planted the thought of wanting to unite the women force together. Thank you, Dr. Taranjit, for being the impetus. This would not have happened without you. I also thank Dr. Divya Merhotra for being instrumental in bringing our international faculty on board. Her advice and inputs were very useful during the preparation. I would like to thank our senior colleagues, Dr. Sujata Mohanty and Dr. Anisha Maria, for their support and involvement. All planning and no work would have gotten us nowhere. The young ones of our network, brimming with ideas and energy, worked in tandem to fructify every idea and worked effortlessly with grace. Take a bow, young ladies. Dr. Ankita, Dr. Kavita, Dr. Nirmal, Dr. Zainab, Dr. Elavenil, Dr. Lakshmi, Dr. Deepa, Dr. Aarti, and Dr. Neha. I thank Dr. Shubhra for her views in the panel discussion, which gave us a perspective of a young woman maxillofacial surgeon. We enjoyed the video at the beginning of the program, which was a compilation of Dr. Yashaswini, Dr. Mimansa, and Dr. Patricia. Don't go away, as there is an even better surprise, which is compiled by the duo, Dr. Yashaswini and Dr. Mimansa, at the end of this event. I thank them all for their time, which is so precious, and their efforts. The most important people are thanked at the end, so that we remember them as we leave. Dr. Jimson, Honorary Secretary of AOMSI Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry chapter, introduced us to Stryker, and Stryker, represented by Mr. Mayan, Mr. Chandru, Mr. Gufran, Mr. Ravi, who have been instrumental in supporting us and sponsoring this platform for this event. A big thank you to all of you. We are extremely overwhelmed by the response received to every flyer, brochure, and message that was posted about this Congress on every group. Thank you, dear colleagues, man and woman, who have supported our initiative by responding and attending. It means a lot to us. I thank the President of AOMSI, Dr. Veerabao, and Honorary Secretary AOMSI, Dr. Preetham Shetty, and all the other dignitaries present here, extending our support by your presence here. So before I say goodnight, I wish to state that this gratitude was not just mere words from my mouth, but a feeling from the heart, with the assurance to each of you that we are here, united as a force, forging forward for the welfare of our specialty. Proud to be maxillofacial surgeons. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Professor Reena John, a dashing force with a sprinkle of humor, always cheering the team up to have delivered the vote of thanks. Happy ending is more of a new beginning. As always, good things come to an end. Nevertheless, it's a sincere hope for everyone here in the team that meaningful professional relationships established through this novel Congress, in the future, we will be able to respond together to issues that we have in common and to achieve and appreciate opportunities served here. Till we meet again, namaste to one and all. And as we wind up the program for the day, some brilliant women who have gone beyond the call of duty and captured some beautiful moments of their life, here's to some women who are in pursuit of their passion. Presenting some videos.
You beyond OMFS. Our identities are beyond the confines of what our titles spell, and the celebration of the talent of every woman MaxFax is the Beyond OMFS segment. It's a compilation of what inspires you, what keeps you going, what cheers you up when the results are not showing. Cheers to all the ladies who've reached us from far and wide and showcased their talent trove through which we will now ride. So here is a collab of all you ladies fab, singers, writers, artists galore, dancers, athletes, painters and more. May you continue to inspire beyond surgery and in all you aspire. This is you beyond OMFS.
And last love. Running de-stresses me. And my motto in life is have it all. A for ambition, L for learn, L for love your work, family and yourself equally.
Midwife decor products and gardening are my leisure time activities. And in COVID times, I explored myself to be a poetess. एक लंबी सांस भर लो और ले लो एक ऊंची उड़ान, खुद को आजमाओ और चल पड़ो, चलना है आपको जमाने के साथ. हम लो एक दूसरे का हाथ और नाप लो 4 कदम एक साथ. चलो थपथपाए पीठ एक दूसरे की छोटी से छोटी कामयाबी के बाद.
Apart from the love for surgery, I draw and paint.
I do pottery and ceramic art as well. I love collecting currencies of various countries and play chess. Being a spiritual person, I meditate and practice Sudarshan Kriya, which helps me keep calm during the most stressful situations that we all come across as surgeons.
Beyond oral and maxillofacial surgery, I am interested in classical dancing. I love both my profession and passion. Thank you.
I call myself a creative thinker. I explore, create, and craft new ways of learning to make studies simpler, easier, and full of fun. Create our own study tools and share it on YouTube too, for making a lifelong learning for the little minds. Thank you.
My interest beyond oral and maxillofacial surgery is to enhance my culinary skills. I love doing a lot of yoga, along with occasional playing of golf and swimming. Beyond sports activities, I love engage myself in acrylic canvas painting, which deals even with abstract canvas painting, pencil sketching, a lot of worldly art, painting on earthenware, chalk piece, facial profiles. Beyond drawing, painting, I love to engage myself even in stitching, designing clothes, especially hand stitching. Thank you.
Hi girls. After OMFS, the second best for me is photography. It's a huge de-stressing mantra for me. I've uploaded quite a number of my photographs in my blog. It's called tidbitsfromlata.blogspot.com.
शशि मुगी बाले कादय शशि मुगी
This is you beyond OMFS.
Thank you once again to all the panelists, Sabine, Patricia, Victoria, Divya, and all the wonderful people who have supported this program. We hope to take this forward. We hope to go ahead. I think women maxillofacial surgeons rock. I think we need to do much more. Thank you so much, all of you. It was wonderful having you here.
Thank you so much for the invited. Thank you, the participants, and thank you, Chitra. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Sabine. It's amazing meeting. I love it.
Fantastic event. Congratulations to the organizers. Really outstanding.
Thank you, Sabine.
See you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you, Patricia.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Chitra, we don't feel like leaving, huh?
I know, I don't feel like leaving.
Dr. Patricia, we've
We
taken
still
pictures,
have-
or you can take the pictures.
We still have
If everyone is
180
here, maybe
people
all of us
around.
can have our videos
Yeah,
on, so
can
we
we
can
all
take a
take
last
our
screenshot.
pictures? Yeah,
Yes.
can we do that?
It's like a conference, right?
Yeah.
I know, you don't feel like leaving on the last day.
You don't feel like leaving.
The questions. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you,
Yes.
Patricia. It's been wonderful. Yeah. So are we taking the picture, Nirmal?
Yeah, just, yeah, okay, we can, just waiting for Dr. Sujata. Professor Sujata, please. And
I take one picture for us.
Yeah.
Now.
yeah, thank you, Dr. Patricia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so much.
you.
We'll send you the pictures that we've taken as well earlier.
It's amazing event. Do you know who persons stay in the meeting? How
I'm
many?
sorry?
Yeah, we
No,
had
many?
400, we had 445 participants on Zoom and around 30 on YouTube. I don't know if that increased.
Yes.
Yeah, and we still have around 162 hanging around. Don't want to leave.
Yes, nobody wants to leave.
Yeah, and we don't want to leave either.
I know, we're just totally enjoying the show.
I'm just so feeling good.
Yes.
My little ones, my young ones. Look at all of them, Deepa and Nirmal.
I see participants from Argentina,
Thank you so much, Rina
from
ma'am.
Colombia, from Bolivia.
You must repeat this event.
Yeah.
In Brazil, no? I see
Yeah.
Brazil.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Divya,
I received-
yes.
Are we taking any picture?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
received
can take one now.
Nirmal, can you take a screenshot?
Cheese? Yeah, cheese, everyone.
Yeah.
Cheese.
Mona Lisa smile.
Reena, we need to see your yellow teeth.
That's not very difficult. With my buck teeth.
I removed my backdrop.
I know. You're looking very pretty. Divya.
I received
It's done.
WhatsApp from all Brazil,
Yeah.
the south and the north, all parts of Brazil. It's
Okay.
good.
That's
Great.
wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's
a lot
wonderful,
of feedback.
Patricia.
Thank
A lot
you.
of people from Brazil joined, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yes.
we're getting great reviews from India also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
The culture, your culture is amazing.
Yes, but we need you with us.
We should
song
keep
is
in touch.
The younger generation is very computer savvy. See how well they managed the show.
Yes.
Ankita, Nirmal.
And Divya, we caught up with them.
Yeah, you all did. You all.
We are still trying.
I have
More than caught
I have
up.
my screen behind with some help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nilima
So
ma'am,
that
your
was
speech
wonderful.
was very good. Very good speech. Very well written, very well spoken.
All of you did really well.
Yes,
Thank you so
everyone
much.
did very well.
Neelima
you
ma'am,
so much.
it was an honor really to have you speak here today. Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself. Neelima ma'am, Professor Neelima.
Can you unmute?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you all you people did a wonderful job.
Ma'am,
And
Neelima
all the
ma'am.
best for your future endeavors.
Thank you
Wish
so
you all
much,
the
ma'am.
best.
Thank you so much.
All
You're
wonderful.
It was
Ma'am,
so
it's such an
wonderful
honor to have you here, ma'am.
Yes.
On the same platform as all of us, it's such an honor to have you here.
Yes.
It is your love and affection brought me here.
I've seen you from afar, and now I feel so good that you're on the same platform as us.
I can't even imagine that I'm even talking to you directly, actually.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's a great honor. My happiness that I could connect to all of you.
She was the first maxillofacial female I met.
You are amazing, Dr. Lenima. I love you.
We'll meet somewhere. We'll meet somewhere.
History. I love your history, your premiums. You are incredible woman. Congratulations.
We'll meet somewhere one day.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes. Thank you all.
Brazil, I need more persons with you. You and Divya and others, but you're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Chitra.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 cheers to Chitra. Hip hip
Not just me, all
hooray.
of you.
Hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray. Chitra, you still have 122 people hanging around. They don't want to leave your program.
It's not my program. It's all of us. We've done so well.
Thank Mayank
I did it so well.
Yes. Striker, great job. Thank you so much.
Mayank, I cannot thank you enough for working with all of us women, or each of us calling you and bugging you at so many times. Mayank, you've been amazing. Thank you so much.
Ravi and Chandru and
Mayank, even I would like to thank you. I irritated you so many times.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been real pleasure. It's been real pleasure.
Thank you, Mayank.
Chandru and Mayank, both of you have been amazing.
Chandru, thank you, Chandru. Yes, amazing. I'm sure you wouldn't have experienced something like this too. Isn't that Chandru?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. No doubt about it. You're so excited.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandru. Yeah, where's Nirmal? Where's Nirmal?
I'm here, ma'am.
Nirmal. Oh my
Nirmal.
God. You've been wonderful, girl. You've been wonderful. Thank you, Nirmal. Thank you so much. You've taken up front so much. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, it's okay. I think it's just all of your support and love and generosity.
Oh.
I'm really humbled.
Where is Wendell? Where is Wendell?
There. She's hiding there.
Oh my
She doesn't want to
God.
smile.
Where is she? I can hug you guys.
Wendell, you are too good.
I can hug you guys. And thanks to Yashaswini and Mimansa. Please do convey
Awesome
our,
work. Awesome work. Awesome
our
work.
gratitude to them. Our gratitude to
Seriously.
them. Please do. Are we going to stay the night till
It
12?
was actually such a big it was such a big responsibility. There were 35 videos in the first
I know
the I Love OMFS one.
Oh,
We've done a lot of work and a lot of midnight oil birth there. Dr. Yash and Dr. Mimansa.
Yeah. Where's Aarti? Aarti, I don't see her at all. Aarti's done an amazing job.
Aarti
Kavita and Ankita,
fantastic.
you guys totally steered the program so well.
Exactly.
Kavita, Ankita, both.
Ankita, where is she? I want to see her
Where is
fabulous
Ankita? I
smile.
don't
Where
see
is
her.
Ankita? She's gone off to sleep.
She's hiding.
And she was looking so good today.
Yeah. Where's Ankita?
Ankita so good. Yeah. I don't see her.
Ankita is gone to sleep?
No, she has left for.
She's left.
She
Okay.
was in the office sitting till now.
Okay.
So she has left now.
Okay. That's fantastic.
So thank you everyone.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you.
Lakshmi, Zainab, Deepa, everybody.
Have a great Sunday.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Have
so
a great
much.
Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Chitra, we still have 106 people.
Okay. I think we need to leave.
Oh, we do? Should we?
No.
Love you guys. Thank you. Divya, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Divya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Got to know everyone so much. Thank you so much for this
It has
opportunity,
become a
Divya.
family now. It has become a family.
Yeah, it's become a family. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Keep in
Anisha
touch
ma'am
and hope we'll
is
go
online.
forward.
Thank
No, we are
Anisha.
not
Lakshmi. Oh, yes. Dr. Lakshmi. You look.
Lakshmi looks so different today.
Yeah, thank you. Is there
Thank you,
anyone?
Anisha ma'am.
Anisha ma'am, thank you so much.
Anisha ma'am, thank you for being
Ma'am is
here.
there? Is Dr. Anisha there?
Yeah, she's there.
Nice
And I
seeing her.
really love
Ma'am, you have to
Anisha ma'am.
unmute yourself.
Ma'am, you have to
Oh,
unmute yourself. Yeah.
So gracious. Oh my
Yes,
God.
always. And
Thank you so
supportive.
much for
Yeah.
accepting, ma'am.
And now it's
No, thank you so much. And you notice I've already changed. It's so
I
late.
know. But you did your job so
But you were
graciously.
still
Thank you,
there.
Dr.
Thank you.
Anisha. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Even
being
Dr.
part of
Shubhra
this.
is there.
No, it was fun. It was fun. Great
Hey,
fun.
Shubhra, it was so good to hear you, Shubhra. Are you
Shubhra is
still
there? Shubhra is there?
See you there.
Yes, ma'am.
Why
she's
don't
left.
why don't we
Video is not on.
Yeah.
चलो भाई डिनर किया जाए. Thank you everybody.
Dinner. Don't feel like
Where's the
leaving you guys.
banquet? Where's the banquet after the conference?
Chitra, you